What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining us on Tuesday night. It is Tuesday Night Titans, episode 119 for your Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. I'm your host, JD from New York. As always, joined by the one and only, the man who does not need a tweet to change the landscape, Solomonster. What's going on, brother?
The landscape has been changed.
In what way, really?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering exactly what the change is. I'm still waiting to see this change that Triple H spoke of.
The change was a Vince McMahon-style segment to open Raw where one guy comes out to be interrupted by three others, and then somebody else comes out. That's what happened.
Wow. Okay, well, the new landscape looks an awful lot like the old landscape to me.
Yes. I don't know who asked for Logan Paul versus CM Punk or anything of that nature in the future, but we will definitely talk about that, man. How you feeling? World Series is over. Baseball's behind us. How you feeling?
Yeah, I kind of wish I had more time to watch more of the games because it sounds like it was a great series overall. I don't know if you did, but I caught the last couple of innings of Game 7.
Yeah, you went live about an hour and 15 before I did. I actually waited because I thought the game would be kind of near completion by the time I went live, but by the time I went live, it was the 7th inning, and then I was live while the end of the game happened, and I got updated via the chat.
I was like, you know what? These are two teams that went, like 15 innings, 18 innings, whatever it was. I said, I'm not going to bank on this game ending in 9 innings. So I'm like, let's just get through this, and if we're lucky, we'll finish, and the game will still be on. So I was able to catch the very end, and even just based on what I saw, like it was a hell of a game.
Yeah, it sounds like I didn't watch all the games, but it certainly sounded like it was a series for the ages. But like we always say, man, you're a baseball nut like I am. In the playoffs, it is not over until it's over. Nobody should be celebrating early at all.
No,
it's like a curse.
No. But I do feel bad though for the Toronto fans, like to be that close and to have it snatched away from you like that.
Yeah.
And I look at a guy like Yamamoto, like we tried to get him, like we made a play for him. The Mets did, and he was like, yeah, I don't think so. Not that I blame him, of course, but just thinking of him possibly as a Met, it's a little painful.
Yeah, I know. There's hopefully the season comes back around pretty quickly. Walt Weiss is now the Braves' new head coach. I'm not in favor of this move, but they wanted to stay within. I don't know why they wanted to. I felt like change could be, I feel like a good thing in that situation, but he's got a losing record before coming on into the head manager role. So I'm already ahead of the game here.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really inspire a lot of excitement.
No, it doesn't.
No. That's like when the Mets hired Art Howe many years ago. I remember Fred Wilpon's like, yeah, I remember the first time I met him, like when he walked in the room, it was like a light went off in the room. Like, is this the same Art Howe that like I am aware of? Like, really? He seems like a nice guy, but I don't know that he's going to really electrify.
No, Walt Weiss was never an electrifying player. He had a fucking terrible batting stance. He had 300 year, I think, with the Braves. He was a good defensive shortstop, but I don't know what else they're going to do with him at head coach, man. I don't know. Just a stupid move, but I would have liked some change there. But we're definitely going to get into the change, supposedly, the landscape changing that Triple H had promised us, which was not on Monday night. We got Logan Paul aligning himself with the Vision. And the War Game situation, thankfully, looks a little bit more clear. And it does not include the MFTs in the Wyatt Six.
Oh,
so I know, it's crazy.
Thank God.
We'll go over that and what those proposed teams could be. Same thing for the women as well. We'll talk about that. I put up a mock Survivor Series card today just to get some discussion started on social media. And people were like, changing it and doing this. I'm like, guys, this is a predicted card. I talked about this legitimately on my stream last night, but nobody's ever happy when you tweet something. So we'll definitely go over that. The women's and men's Blood and Guts teams are already set to go, and that's happening next week. So we'll definitely go over that as well. I am a little confused as to why the women's teams ended up the way that they are, but we will definitely get into that. We got news on Saturday night's main event. We'll talk about that and go over briefly what we thought of that show. We got some AEW news on MJF, Will Ospreay, Private Party. We'll talk about the John Cena, The Last Time Is Now tournaments, where we got 2 matches officially confirmed for next week's Raw in Boston, where we will see John Cena, one of his last 4 appearances, is next week in Boston. So we got a lot to talk about tonight. We are very thankful you guys are with us here on this Tuesday night. So please make sure you hit that thumbs up. We got a little bit more than 230 likes right now. I'd love to see that number much higher. So I know people are still filtering it on in here. NXT is on right now, which usually means that everybody's preoccupied, and they usually make their way over here after the show is over. So if you guys want to hit that thumbs up if you're here, try and get that number up. Please hit that subscribe button down below. Follow Jason on social media at Twitter and on YouTube. So you guys can find that in the description down below. And please, super chats are open. Get them on in. It is the absolute best way to support what Jason and I do here on Tuesday night. All right, brother, guide us. Where are we going?
Well, on that note, why don't we start with AEW? You mentioned there was a note about MJF, some movie news, and we may be getting him back soon.
Yes, with Full Gear taking place in Newark, New Jersey, it sounds like it's the right time for MJF to come back, being that it's just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Plainview, Long Island. MJF update on his AEW return. This is coming from Fightful Select. He is a much-needed return, and I hope that they have something very, very substantial for the man when he comes back. But MJF is taking well to Hollywood, and a few months ago it was revealed that MJF landed a role in Violent Night 2 after appearing in Happy Gilmore 2. Did you watch Happy Gilmore 2?
I did not watch Happy Gilmore 2. I don't think I've ever seen Violent Night 1.
Me neither.
Have you seen? Yeah, I mean, when did Violent Night come out?
I don't know.
Is that a more recent movie?
Is that what is that, a Christmas movie?
I think so. I think it's like a
murderous Santa Claus?
I think so. I think it's something like that. But which sounds interesting. I'm not saying it's not. It kind of reminds me of Santa Sleigh with Goldberg when that came out many years ago. So, no, I don't know. I haven't seen Violent Night 1, but if MJF is going to be in Violent Night 2, I may have to check it out.
Possibly. So he was in Happy Gilmore 2. I thought it was very good. Not better than the first one, obviously, but still very, very entertaining.
But like his part in the movie, as far as like his performance, how would you judge that?
Well, it wasn't really something where I think he had maybe like one line, but it was more of like an animated role, like body language wise. He was one of Adam Sandler's sons, so every time Adam Sandler was at home and contemplating getting back on the golf course, you saw MJF and the rest of the sons there. So he was very noticeable in the movie. I'll say that. Like if you're a pro wrestling fan and you're watching that without knowing that he's in there and you saw him there, you know who he is. So yeah, that was, I enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys did as well. And he was in The Iron Claw, which I thought was a great movie, but I don't remember seeing him in that movie.
Yeah, he was Lance Von Erich.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing it. I have to go back and watch it.
It was a small part.
So MJF has had a heavy travel schedule as filming started. Obviously, he had gotten married too, so I don't know if he even went on his honeymoon. Hopefully he did. So he's going back and forth between filming and then the AEW tapings, and I believe the Violent Night movie is being filmed in Winnipeg. So he's still continuing to film. Since All Out, MJF's been off TV. If you guys remember, he lost to Mark Briscoe in that tables and thumbtacks match. And Fightful is told that the filming of the movie is set to wrap relatively soon, though we have not heard when MJF is scheduled to return to AEW. Sources did indicate that he actually now has the acting bug and has spoken about how much he enjoys filming. So Sean Ross Sapp put out an additional update saying that he'll look to gain additional updates when he could return, but it does seem that he will be available relatively soon. So Full Gear does make the most sense, Jason. I know you feel the same way. He's much needed back on television, and we've discussed this not only individually, but here on this show as well, that the main event for World's End more than likely will end up being MJF and Adam Page, and it goes back to 2 years ago where MJF's world legitimately ended, where Samoa Joe took the belt from him, Adam Cole turned on him. So it's almost like coming full circle with MJF. Hopefully, in my case, I'd love to see it. Hopefully him winning the AEW World Championship, cashing in that contract, giving a heads-up notice, beating Page, and then going into 2026 as the AEW World Champion.
Yeah, I mean, they could definitely use him back. I mean, they're missing some big names right now. You got Swerve is going to be out for a few more months. Ospreay is going to be out for a while. I know there was some update that I think he posted on his social media talking about his recovery and rehab, and I think someone mentioned something about January of 2026. He's not coming back in January. Anybody who thinks he's going to be back in the ring in January, you're going to be very disappointed. So, he's gone for a while. Jay White is still out. So, they have a lot of names that you could plug into the main event picture who just are not available. So getting him back is going to be a big deal. So the sooner the better. I envision, again, I don't know his availability on that particular night, but I would imagine that, at the end of Hangman's title defense against Samoa Joe, that may be where we see the return of MJF.
Yeah, it makes sense for him to just kind of, I don't know if he cashes in that night and kind of alludes to that.
He can.
Well, no, not per se, but like mention that he's going to cash in, and then we get the announcement the following week on Dynamite that he'll be cashing in at World's End.
No, I mean, I think that if he was going to be back, Tony Khan loves the lights out gimmick, something like that. He shows up, he could lay out the champion and then don't announce anything until Dynamite. You got to save some stuff for TV.
Yeah.
So I would say, we don't know anything until Dynamite the following week. And we get that return MJF promo. And again, he has to call his shot. The rules now are a little bit different in terms of cashing in the contract. And then you can make the match official for World's End. But I don't think you have to announce anything or have him announce anything, at the pay-per-view. Just him being there makes a statement.
Do you have a problem? Because I know I talked about this with Jesse on Wednesday. Samoa Joe turned heel at Wrestle Dream. He's getting the rematch because he beats Bobby Lashley, Hook, and Ricochet in a fatal four-way on Wednesday's Dynamite, which, by the way, I thought was a very good episode of Dynamite. I know I'm very hard on the company and the television show, but I thought Wednesday's show was actually more focused than anything we've seen in months. So I thought Wednesday's show was very good. But Joe won that fatal four-way, and then we got the Hangman gimmick with him dressing up as Tony Schiavone, who was dressed as the Phantom of the Opera,
which I love.
It's just Adam Page, and it kind of gives you that old school AEW feel. So I very much enjoyed it, and I did laugh my ass off when he was standing in the ring, and we still heard Tony Schiavone's voice over the PA system.
Well, he was trying to, match his miming of the words with the words themselves. So there was one point where I think he thought like Tony was done talking, and then he just started talking again, and he stops and he goes, and he's like raising the beer bottle in the air. And but I didn't notice it at first. I only noticed that on the second viewing. So it's one of those things where when I was initially watching it live, I think I was probably looking at Joe because I had no reason to look at Schiavone.
Yeah.
And then when the voice change happened, and I said, oh shit. So then I went back and watched it. And when you watch it back, it's more obvious, but I just thought the whole thing was very well done.
Now, like I was saying, with Samoa Joe turning heel at Wrestle Dream, the only reason why they turned him heel was to basically get another match, a second match with Adam Page at Full Gear. The heel turn doesn't really mean anything right now. It's just to get that second match. Do you feel that it hurts Joe just a little bit to turn him heel and then not deliver on turning him heel in that moment to ultimately lose to Adam Page again at Full Gear? Or is this something that Joe was kind of immune to because he's Samoa Joe?
Yeah, I mean, he's Samoa Joe. I mean, Samoa Joe is a great babyface. Samoa Joe is just as good, if not better, a heel. So as long as they have, I don't know who he's going to work with next or who the ops are going to work, because it wasn't just him. They turned the whole group. So as long as they have some sort of plan for where they want to go with him after this, and I don't know if they do, then it doesn't matter. Like, they turned him heel because they had a need for Hangman to go up against a strong heel going into these two pay-per-views. And so does it hurt Joe? No, it doesn't, because like you said, Joe is Joe, and it just comes down to whether or not they actually have another opponent in mind for him once he loses, which he will, to Hangman, or do they not yet have that next part for him figured out because he's not the focus, right? Hangman's the focus. This was all done for Hangman. Hangman needed somebody to work with. I don't think this was done for Joe. Joe is just, he's a great utility guy in that you can plug him into whatever role you need him in. Babyface, heel, doesn't really matter. So Tony Khan had a need. This is the decision he made. Right now, they're still the trios champions, so that brings up the other question of who were the ops going to drop those titles to?
Well, I thought it was going to happen on Wednesday because I thought Adam Page would have gotten some revenge for the heel turn at the pay-per-view. Yeah. I thought that he would cost the ops the trio championships against the Hurt Syndicate, and that didn't happen. So I was
he wasn't even on the show. Yeah, no, they saved him for a collision that week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they beat the Hurt Syndicate. That's why I asked the question, is there another obvious trio lined up? And it's not going to be the Demand. So is there another trio that's lined up right now that seems like, okay, they're next in line to feud with Joe and the Ops, and that they could be the ones to take those titles off of them? Who would that be?
I don't know. It's a very difficult question to answer. The Bang Bang Gang is together without one of the Guns and Jay White, obviously. So they are the only one that come to mind, really.
Well, it would have to be baby faces, right? Because you could say the Callis family. You could say,
sure.
I mean, there's any trio that you could come up with, but if we limit it to baby faces, it just becomes a little harder to figure out who that would be.
Maybe they add a third to the team of Hook and Eddie Kingston. I have no idea. Hook has now made mention that he wants to take out Joe because he now sees who Joe was, and he knew who that Joe was a very long time ago. So I don't know what's going to happen there. Apparently, Adam Page and Eddie Kingston, along with Hooker, are teaming up against the Ops on Wednesday. So that'll be this coming Wednesday. But yeah, that is the latest on MJF, and it's tough with AEW right now. They have all the talents that Jason just mentioned out. So you look back at why they turned Joe heel. If they didn't turn Joe heel to work with Page, legitimately, who else is there? They tried Kyle Fletcher, which was just a one and done deal just to get him an opponent. But who else is there that is a legitimate, credible heel to challenge for a world championship? They're really, it's with that roster, it's very difficult to even pick someone out, and they have a huge roster.
Well, I mean, take your pick from the Callis family. It would have been a member of the Callis crew.
Yeah, no, thank you.
No, I'm saying that, but that's probably why they had felt the need to turn Joe, because that's not the ideal option. What are you going to do? You're going to put Okada in there with him?
No.
Okada can't lose to Hangman before he loses to Takeshita.
Yeah, no.
Can't put Takeshita in there. So, I mean, there really was not another really strong option on the heel side. And I mentioned this to you, which is why I wasn't shocked they were going with a Joe rematch, because what are you going to do? You're going to build up a completely new opponent for one match here on this pay-per-view? You may as well just get 2 matches out of it.
Yeah, I'd rather them
somebody else up.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd rather them do that than just throw some random schmuck out there in 3 weeks build to the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, pointless. It doesn't make sense. So, yeah, that was the only real viable option that they had. So that's why the quicker we get MJF back, the better. If for some reason MJF is not back, and I can't imagine that that's not the match for World's End, but let's just say it isn't, I don't know who that person would be.
I have no idea.
I really don't.
No idea. Maybe Darby ends up ending John Moxley. Darby challenges for the World Championship to begin 2026 against MJF. 2 pillars there. I don't know. I don't know where else they go until Swerve comes back. I know if MJF is going to be the world champion, Swerve is going to be back hopefully within the next 2, 3 months, 4 months. I mean, you're looking at a main event program right there. I mean, they've had some interactions on TV.
Well, yeah, but you're also looking at a main event program at some point, probably in the first half of next year with MJF and Darby. I mean, that's one that's obvious that has to get done.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. If MJF's the champion, we got Darby, we got Swerve, hopefully. If Will Ospreay can get himself back before Wembley, I think that's the Wembley main event with Ospreay being crowned the champion. I mean, there's no better guy to take that match than MJF. So,
well, I mean, it's tough, though. I mean, with that injury, you're talking about having him back in time. Having him back in time for the show is different than having him back in time to prep him to challenge for the world title, especially if he has to be in the Owen.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know how likely that is.
Well, that leads us to what Jason mentioned earlier, where people were very confused and ran with news that Ospreay would be back in January. That is not the case. So I know fans want to see Ospreay back, but January 2026 is definitely not happening. Dave Meltzer addressed the speculation in the Observer, and he shut down rumors that Ospreay would be ready to wrestle in early 2026. And according to Meltzer, fans misinterpreted a recovery post made by Ospreay's therapist. Regarding Will Ospreay, some people brought up to me from a social media post thinking he would be back in January. This is not the case. He is hopeful of being able to start lightweight workouts in January. He is a long way away from returning. Now, the post in question was shared by his therapist, and apparently Singh, his doctor, Saminder Singh, I know I'm pronouncing that horribly wrong.
Boy, you butchered that.
Yes. He noted that Ospreay progressed well at 6 weeks post-operation and hinted at a possible January comeback, which sparked the rumors. So he said, Ospreay 6 weeks post-op is doing great, still ways to go, but we're on the right road, January 2026. So this obviously led everybody to believe that Ospreay would be targeting a January return to the ring, but Meltzer made it clear that January only marks the return of potential start of getting back in the gym doing light workouts. So I know everybody wants him back. He's much needed again, like everybody else that's on the DL there for AEW. But it just goes to show you how I look at it in a different way here. I didn't even interpret that as him being back in January. I think if you're a sensible human being, you know that with the injury that he went out for, he's not going to be back that quickly. That would be a medical miracle if that's the case. But man, I tell you, everybody wants to run with the news, and they want to engagement farm, and they want to throw it out there, and all it takes is one, bro, and then it goes to a whole slew of people just reiterating the same story. That's how dangerous social media is. This is a good example of that.
Well, just the nature of the injury, I think, again, common sense doesn't always prevail, so you have to remember that. But yeah, I mean, just given the nature of the injury, that would be terribly quick. I mean, Kurt Angle would break his neck and come back as quickly as possible, and I don't think that really was... I think most people would agree, including Kurt, that was probably not the best move to be making. It's a situation where you don't really want to fuck with your neck, so especially the style he works. So the best thing to do is to let him heal up as close to 100% as he can be, so that when he comes back, he's back, and he's not coming back prematurely. And that goes for any of these guys, Swerve with the knee or anybody else. Like, yeah, if you have injury issues that you're out with right now, no matter how frustrating it might be, you want them to get 100%. You want them to get healthy so that you get them back in as complete a form as you can get them back. I saw today where Brian Cage, I don't know if you saw that, but Brian Cage has been out for a while. I think he's been out since March and had what I believe was a knee replacement. So he had a big recovery ahead of him, and he was getting close. And then he posted, I think today on social media, that there was some sort of setback and he's going to need a follow-up knee surgery.
Oh my God.
So he's going to be out yet for quite some time. So, that sucks. That's unfortunate. Obviously, the last time we saw him, he was one of the many members of the Callis family, which has only grown since then. And yeah, if you're someone in his position, I'm sure you look at that and you just worry, like, am I going to have a spot, when I am healed up and ready to come back? I'm sure as much as he's got physical issues to deal with, it probably is a mental challenge as well, where, yeah, it's got to be deflating. When you're out for that long and then you have a setback like that, it's tough. So I was sorry to hear that.
Yeah, a lot of setbacks lately. I didn't know that about Cage. I know Bianca Belair with the fingers, she had a setback. Bandito with the wrist, he had a setback. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of injuries and then setbacks lately. So yeah, I like Brian Cage. I think Brian Cage is talented as hell, man. I'd like to see him back on television. And yeah, I mean, if I'm him, I'm worrying too, because they've replaced him with 6 other fucking guys. So it's like, what is his mental state looking at that? Like, am I really going to have a spot when I get back? I'm sure he will, but it's not going to be the same.
Well, yeah, you don't know where on the card that's going to be.
No. So yeah, that is the latest with Will Ospreay, and if I can say, he is much missed for sure on AEW television. There's no one like Will Ospreay. Private Party. We haven't seen them in a while since they got buried by the Hurt Syndicate. Private Party has been on ice since losing the AEW Tag Team Championships. Neither Mark Quinn or Isaiah Cassidy have wrestled since January and have only wrestled for House of Glory since then. However, throughout 2025, they've still managed to make major headlines. Apparently, it was their contracts that were up relatively soon. That was reported by The Observer in the summer. Shortly after, Fightful Select learned that WWE had maintained interest in them. Then we saw, and I don't know if you saw them, Jason, but Quinn and Cassidy are absolutely fucking ripped to shreds lately. So I don't know what's going on there, but me personally thought that with the WWE rumors, they were getting ready for a departure and they wanted to at least show up to the performance and look in the part. So they walk on NXT and they'd fucking blow everybody away. That's what I thought. But there's been an update. Fightful says that apparently their change in physique can be attributed to the Hurt Syndicate, who have seemed to have taken a liking to Private Party. One of the teams that MVP made no secret about that he wanted the Syndicate to work with was Private Party, and sources that indicated that the Syndicate advised Private Party to spend more time in the gym so that they may improve their careers. Those familiar with the situation says Sapp claimed that the Hurt Syndicate have been very helpful to them. Regarding their contracts, Fightful Select is told that they're both still under contract, but things could get a little foggy after that. It was implied that the two wrestlers have deals that don't expire around the same time, or there's at least the possibility that they wouldn't because of injury time. We haven't heard their preferences about staying or leaving in regards to AEW. Now, I know, who was it? Quinn was hurt. He was out.
Yeah, he was out for a while.
Yeah, so it looks like he may have been, had injury time tacked onto his contract, and Cassidy's contract may be up before Quinn's is. But that's the latest. We don't know where they're going, if they're staying with AEW, if they're going to WWE. I'm sure there's WWE interest there, and they could certainly use tag teams on NXT and on the main roster. I always thought that Private Party would have benefited greatly from an NXT Performance Center. And we know how talented they are. They just needed to tie all that stuff together. And all the tools are there. I just felt like when they came into AEW, they were just fresh off the indies, and that there was the excitement there because of how great that they performed and how athletic they were. But as time went on, Jason, and we both love Private Party and both of those guys, the thing is, one year after the next, and I've mentioned this several times with Jesse on Wednesday, there just wasn't any growth there. They remain the same. I know they paired them with the Hardys when they were there, and they were paired with Matt. That's always a great influence there, but they didn't really go anywhere, and they found themselves mainly on Rampage or one of the lower tiered shows that AEW put on. There was just no growth there. There was no career advancement there, and I felt like before they put the championships on them, they severely dropped the ball on telling that story if they really wanted to make them an intricate part of the tag team division. They just put the belts on them with no real story. There was that great video package where, they were with Amazing Red, and they had that filmed in New York City, I believe, and it was just a great segment. And I don't know why they didn't tap into that over months and months and months of television to tell that story and flesh it out. They just put the belts on them, and granted, the matches with the Young Bucks were good. But, man, it just felt unceremonious the way that they just put the titles on them and then did nothing with them, only to drop them to the Hurt Syndicate and then not appear on television anymore. So if we're a little jaded about Private Party and the way that they were used in AEW, we're not going to blame Private Party here. And we have, as fans, every reason to be upset.
Well, I mean, their reign was horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, the win over the Bucks, I mean, that was a great moment. And, I mean, it came, 5 years after the previous win that they had over them, so that you kind of tie it into the anniversary. And then they did nothing with them. And then, like you said, they were basically, buried beneath the earth once they lost those championships. Like, thanks for coming. And that was the last we saw of them. So it's been this whole, really most, if not the entire year. When did that title change happen? Was that January? I think that was January.
Was it? I felt like it was before that.
Maybe it was.
It might have been.
I thought maybe it was the beginning of this year, but either way, they basically have been, MIA for most of the year. And look, as a fan of theirs, I just want to see them back on TV in a meaningful role, doing something instead of just feeling like their career is wasting away because they're not being utilized, wherever that may be. Whether it's AEW, whether that's WWE. Obviously, in AEW, they've been there for many, many years. They've been there now 5 or 6 years. And so you wonder, after 5 or 6 years, it's like, okay, you get to a point where would they not benefit by, a change of scenery and new talent to work with and new coaches to not train under, but just, kind of work under. I hate to use the learning tree expression, but kind of sit under that learning tree and kind of get something out of that. So wherever they land, I obviously wish them nothing but success. But you bring up an interesting point about how, they may not be in the same contractual situation because Quinn had that injury that kept him out for a very long time. And the Hardy stuff, I'm pretty sure that was only Isaiah. That's where the whole Brother Zay thing came from, because Quinn was out. So that'll be interesting. That'll be very interesting to see, what happens there. I look at them, they're a unit together. Private Party, you need 2 people to make that work. So wherever they end up, hopefully we see them back on TV at some point. But yeah, the last time I saw them in person, which was earlier this year, I'm pretty sure it was both of them, but especially Quinn. I've never seen him that big before.
No, he looks ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
In a good way. He looks fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying like he's sitting on the couch eating fucking Cheetos. I don't mean that. Like, he was in the best shape I've ever seen him in. He was like a monster. So, and I do think that will be to their benefit, especially if they do end up going somewhere else, because there is a premium put on your physique and how you are presented on television. And they certainly stand out now, at least the last time I saw them, in a way that they did not before.
Well, I don't know where they're going to end up, but if they end up in WWE, they will be successful. If they end up in AEW again, back in AEW, the tag team division is radically different now than it was then when they lost the tag team championship. So they could actually fit in if Tony Khan wants to utilize their services with this division, because he's turned, or the division itself has turned around greatly over the last several years. So at least they would have a division to come back to, a competitive one. So like Jason said, we just want to see them back on television. We wish both of those guys nothing but the best. I want to get into this Blood and Guts, Jason, because I saw this last week, and apparently it was announced on Collision what the women's side of the War Games or Blood and Guts would be. We knew coming out of Dynamite, because Orange Cassidy announced Blood and Guts between the conglomeration and the Death Riders. Just so you guys are aware, there is two. The men's Blood and Guts looks like this: Jon Moxley, Claudio, Pac, Wheeler Yuta, and Danny Garcia against Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, Mark Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. So that's this year's men's Blood and Guts. It's where the women's match comes in, and we're getting to, which apparently is going to be an extended version of Dynamite, so I'm sure they'll do a 2.5-hour Dynamite like we've seen over the last several weeks. Tekla, Julia Hart, Sky Blue, Triangle of Madness. They've been integrated with all these different women on Collision, so they make sense. Megan Bayne, Marina Shafir, who's filling in for Penelope Ford because Penelope got hurt in that 8-woman 4-way match that they had a couple of weeks ago to determine who would choose their opponents for the tag team title tournament. And Penelope Ford got injured there. I was hoping that wasn't the case, but apparently it was.
She did, and not only that, but she hurt the ligament in her elbow that, you know, a lot of baseball players hurt. That's how they get Tommy John surgery.
Oh my God.
UCL tear.
So Marina is sliding in there for Megan Bayne so that she may remain in the tournament. And then this one, I mean, it shocked me, but at the same time, it didn't shock me because of how she loves women's wrestling. And there was not going to be a first ever women's Blood and Guts match without this woman involved, and that is Mercedes Moné. I was actually surprised to see that she's in this, and she has had nothing to do with the build towards this particular match.
Well, I was not surprised once I saw that Chris Statlander was on the opposing team.
She don't belong there either.
But she's there.
In my opinion. So she is there, but yes.
Once they made that decision to put the champion in there, it's like, okay, well, at least, you know, like 10 days later, these two women have a championship match. So, like, it would make no sense if Statlander was in there and Mercedes wasn't, or if Mercedes was and Statlander wasn't. What is confusing to me is they don't need to be in there because this makes the match 6-on-6 as opposed to the men's match, which is 5-on-5.
It's very weird. I don't understand it. I really don't.
Yeah, well, I think it comes down to it's probably a match that she wanted to be a part of and didn't want to miss.
The other side, I'll get to my opinion in a second. Jamie Hayter, Queen Aminata, who have been a part, who were a tag team in this tournament. They lost, surprisingly. I thought they would actually get the win over Sky Blue and Julia Hart on Wednesday. They did not. Jamie Hayter and Queen Aminata, who have been embroiled in this feud with the Triangle of Madness, so they belong there. Willow, Harley Cameron, and I'm not even sure that they belong there, but I don't have any problem with them being in there. And then, like Jason said, Statlander's there, which has prompted the other team to pick up Mercedes. And Toni Storm. Toni Storm is in this thing, and she's kind of had this on and off role with all these women, teaming with them on random occasions on Saturday night. But you're missing, you know, obviously Penelope's injured. Tay J's been in that. I don't know who else has been embroiled on Collision because I don't really watch, honestly. But my opinion on this, Jason, is I think they're changing the rules for the sake of changing the rules. And it may be a situation where Mercedes wanted to be a part of it, and they put her on the heel side of the Blood and Guts match, and then they had to put Chris Statlander, like you said, on the other side to make it make sense for her to be included here. They don't belong here otherwise. Like, I don't know why we need 6-on-6 when the rules have always been 5-on-5. And I'm going to go back to what I said last week about the tag team title tournament. Jason was correct in what he said last week in counter to what I felt about the women's tag team title tournament. I just feel like it should be for a team that isn't really all that well known. Jason's point was put it on Stars, establish the championship, and then drop the titles to stars that you've built up along the way so that they could take those belts off the stars, or off of like Tony and Mina. I felt like you've showcased all these women for months, and one of those teams should be a representative of the tag team championships. You wasted all this television time. Tony and Mercedes have their own thing. Statlander's now at that level. Let them do what they need to do. Don't start integrating the top women into the middle of the road stuff, because that's slated for them. Like, I just feel like they're eating at the table more than they really need to. And I'm going to go back and say the same thing here. I don't know why Mercedes needs to be in this match. I don't know why Chris Statlander needs to be in this match. It should be the women that have busted their ass on Collision for 3 months now, 4 months. I don't understand how they don't look at it in this way, because these women have feuded for months now, and I feel like a match like this and their performance is going to make them and take them to the next level. Like, you don't put these women in a blood and guts match and just be like, all right, on to the next. Like, this is a star-making match with these women that are going to go out there and want to fucking kill themselves to be looked at a different level and be taken at a different level. I don't know why you have to integrate the top stars into this match when the match basically, Jason, sells itself. That's the point I want to make. I don't know why they need to be there.
Well, because they are top stars, and that's why they want them in there.
Well, they have their own stuff.
Well, but they do, and I think I wonder if once the decision was made for Mercedes to be in there, Statlander had to be in there as well, and maybe she took Mina's place, because it's a little weird that Tony is in there and Mina is not.
Yeah,
because a lot of the women in this match are in this tag team title tournament. Tony and Mina are one of those teams in the tournament. So that's what I'm guessing, is that maybe Mina's spot really ended up going to Statlander. Yeah, but what they're going for is, I mean, the stipulation should sell itself, but it's the first ever. And so they want to, Tony Khan wants a mix of names, right? Big names in the division, which he gets out of Tony Storm and Statlander and Mercedes, mixed in with people like Tekla and Julia Hart and Sky Blue, who are not as established. So you do end up with a mix. I feel bad for Anna Jay and Ty Mello. I mean, they've been also some of these collision, we'll call them collision cowgirls. I usually say collision cowboys, but they've been on that show. They've been, part of this whole thing, and they've been in the mix, and they're in the tournament. I think they were supposed to wrestle Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir. I'm sorry, not Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir. They were supposed to wrestle Tegan Knox and her partner, and that didn't happen. So that was a little strange. That was my impression when they first arrived.
Wait a minute, I thought they were in the tournament wrestling Bayne and Ford originally. They took them out of the tournament?
They are. But like I'm saying, there was supposed to be a match on Collision, I believe, this past week, stemming from the debut promo that Tegan Knox had with Miranda, right? Miranda Alizé.
Yeah. And
I think the match ended up being the two of them against Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir, who basically just kind of killed them. So I don't know. It seems to me like a change was made there in that match. I don't know why. So yeah, I mean, them not being in it, they're kind of getting the shaft. But that's where I think their mentality is on this. They want to mix. They want some big names in there. They don't want it to just be Julia Hart and Sky Blue and Anna Jay and Ty Mello, and then it feels like a collision match. They want this to be bigger, so it's important in their mind that they have Tony Storm and they have Mercedes, and she's one of their champions, just like Chris Statlander is one of their champions, and so they're weaving all of these things together where you have these women who were in the tournament. You also have these two women who are having a world championship match, 10 days later at the pay-per-view. That's where their mindset is on it. They want some marquee names. They want marquee names in that match.
This is a match that is not for the faint of heart. Injuries do happen in this match. Are you concerned personally as a fan looking at this that Mercedes is in this, knowing that she has all those belts? She's going after the tag team championship. She's going after the women's championship at Full Gear. Possible injuries here, is that something that Tony Khan should be concerned with? How much of that decision did he hesitate on to even put her in the match, knowing that she could potentially walk out injured here?
I would be concerned. Yes, she has other matches this month that are coming up immediately after this show. Yes, I would be very concerned. But look, injuries can happen in any kind of match. Look at the way that the injury bug has bitten them this year, right? They have had a lot of injuries. And WWE has as well, but it just feels like AEW has been besieged by injuries, including to some very top names in that company. So I don't know that I would want to put some of those names in a position that maybe makes it more likely that they may end up injured, but realistically, you could be hurt in any match. So, the level of risk involved here really just boils down to what kind of dumb shit do you do or not do in this match. I would hope that, whatever they're going to do, this is the first time we're getting a women's Blood and Guts. Like, we know what to expect with the men. We know John Moxley is going to be in Blood and Guts. What do you think we are going to see in Blood and Guts?
We're going to see the Crimson Mask in 5 minutes.
The word blood is literally in the name of the show. Okay, so at least in the men's match, and I'm sure in the women's match, blood will be spilled. And who knows what other wacky stunts there might be. We've seen Blood and Guts matches where guys take bumps off the top of the cage. Mike Santana, he tore his ACL working a Blood and Guts match. Missed 14 months of his career, as you well know. Injuries happen. Yes, I would be concerned. You just hope for the best. Not much more you can do. You hope that they're smart about what they're going to do, but there's only so much you can do to protect yourself, especially with that many people in the ring. You have 12 women that are ultimately going to end up between those. Now, you got 2 rings, but you got 12 women in that match. It's a lot of bodies moving around, a lot of big spots and dives and shit happening all at once. So hopefully everybody makes it out in one piece. But of course, if you're Tony Khan, you're looking at this and going, wow, man, Chris Statlander's in there and Tony Storm's in there and Mercedes is in there. And I better damn well hope I got a pay-per-view in 10 days and they make it out of there in one piece.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. It's the first thing I thought of with some of them high-profile names in this match. I mentioned this on my Monday Night Raw review last night. I got a little animated with it because I just hate it. I know you recently talked about the wrestling tropes that you just can't stand recently on your podcast. And
very popular, yes.
Yes. I am not a fan of certain tropes myself, and the one thing that I find myself hating more and more, and we've seen it a lot, we felt it a lot with Vince McMahon, is that he does these matches for the sake of just doing them because it's October and it's Hell in a Cell and Hell and October and Halloween all kind of, go hand in hand. I felt like with Logan Paul, and I'm going to mention this here, I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit later too, but it kind of goes in hand with what I want to say. Logan Paul was aligned with the Vision. We recently got the Vision on the new Survivor Series poster that clearly says War Games. Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Paul Heyman. So it's like you kind of put the puzzle together. It's like, all right, they may be in War Games because they're the ones featured on the War Games poster. Then we see Logan Paul online with Paul Heyman last night, and the whole War Game situation is becoming a little bit more clear. You can see who's going to slot in on the babyface side, who's going to make their return, and who's going to be there on the Vision side. And I'm saying last night, why is it that all of these matches, and granted that the Vision stuff, you've felt it, you've seen it dated back to the beginning of the year. You kind of knew where the baby faces were going to end up with the heels here. They were going to end up inside War Games. But I just feel like, Jason, all of these matches, they just come together in like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It's like they announce these teams with 3 weeks, 4 weeks to go before the actual show. Like, we don't even have these teams on the men and women's side for Survivor Series. None of these War Games teams are announced. Like, I feel like everybody should be all hands on deck. They should have slots on TV. We should be getting high-profile matches and excitement and segments and just, something that's indicative of, like, fucking war. And we're not getting that. It's like they're slow dripping. It's like I'm watching my fucking coffee machine and the coffee's just slow dripping into my cup. And after 5 minutes, it's done. Like, I'm tired of the slow drip. I'm tired of the wait. I understand that they have TV to build and it's a weekly television program and they got to save some stuff for the upcoming weeks. But here with this Blood and Guts stuff, I'm looking at the men's match. Like, granted, Darby and John Moxley make sense. But where the fuck does the conglomeration come in? I just feel like they threw John Moxley and Kyle O'Reilly out there and they threw Mark Briscoe and some of the Death Riders out there a couple of months ago, and now they're all kind of tying it back, and here you go. Here's a Blood and Guts match. It's like none of these teams have had a dilemma over the course of the 12 months. Maybe Darby and John Moxley, that's it. But outside that, I just feel like everything is just so haphazardly thrown together, and they're just presenting it as, here you go, Blood and Guts. Like, it doesn't feel special to me anymore.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't help that we're getting 4 of these matches within a couple of weeks.
Christ.
I mean, that's just ridiculous the way it worked out. But yeah, the men's Blood and Guts, I mean, the conglomeration thing just came out of left field, but it's not even about the conglomeration, dude. It's about Darby and Moxley. Like that's Like, I was surprised and disappointed that coming out of Moxley's loss at Wrestle Dream, they didn't begin the disintegration of the Death Riders. And then when I realized, okay, we're probably going to get them in Blood and Guts, that, to me, that needs to be where that happens. And that's really the story of that match. It's nothing else really matters. I think Moxley is probably going to end up being the one to take the losing fall for his team. And then hopefully that is... If it's not the beginning of the end, hopefully it marks the end. And then the Death Riders have their, they find Jesus, and then they realize, what are we doing here with this guy?
You're really trying to will this into existence, huh?
I am trying very, very hard. I say it every week. Because, look, I mean, but tell me that would not make the most sense.
Yes, it does.
Because what they've been doing, look at what they've been doing for a few weeks now with Moxley and Kyle O'Reilly, right? When he gets trapped in a submission hold or whatever, and they're telling the story on commentary of he doesn't want to do what he did at Wrestle Dream and quit again. He's deathly afraid of quitting in a submission hold. So I feel like that might be the only thing that could really happen at this point that might make someone like Pac or Claudio just be like, you know what? Like maybe this is not a cause that's worth fighting for under this guy because he just keeps quitting on us. And so if that at least leads to something significant like the death of the Death Riders, good. And if the conglomeration are just bit players in the background for this whole thing, and plus Mark Briscoe, I'm sure he'll thrive in that environment. But yeah, I mean, the way the conglomeration came together with the Death Riders makes it feel like, well, what I was fearing on the WWE side, where we might get the MFTs and the Wyatts, right? Which was something they started teasing a few weeks ago. And it's like, they can't possibly be building to a War Games match with these two teams. They haven't done anything. Or really the MFTs and anybody. I'm just relieved it looks like they will not be in War Games because I just think that would be a waste of War Games.
Well, the Wyatts haven't even been on TV because of Bo's father's health. So it's like,
well, yeah, but I was even a little worried this past week that, Plan B would be, a team, and I love Sami Zayn, but still like a team led by Sami Zayn of people that have maybe been wronged by the MFTs. The point is, like, they're a heel group with no heat. Like, them being in War Games would do absolutely nothing for me. And the same thing with the men's Blood and Guts here. I can't say that it has me overly excited other than, to see if I'm on the right track with what the outcome is. On the women's side, yeah, this is the first women's one, but it really, you have more of a justification. I think you would agree on the women's side than you do on the men's. Because like you said, there are a lot of women in this match. Maybe it's not all of them, but there's a lot of women in this match that have been feuding and beefing on television with one another now for several months. And so that makes sense that you would build to a match like this where they can blow off all these issues after all these months of feuding. That's what Blood and Guts should be. That's what War Games should be. Like the word war. Wars don't happen overnight, right? War is something where like tensions are building over a period of months or years between two countries until finally they go to war, right? That's what it is. It's not like they wake up one week and then like 3 weeks later, oh, we'll go to war with this country over here, right? It's an escalation of tension between two sides. And because, well, it's that time of year, we have to have War Games. Like I was for many years someone who wanted to see War Games brought to the main roster. And Vince McMahon didn't want to do it. Like Triple H tried to get him to do it years ago. He said no. That's how we ended up with the Elimination Chamber. So then Triple H was able to bring it back in NXT. And we saw some really good War Games matches in NXT. So when they brought it to the main roster, I was excited. But even then I said, as long as there's a reason for doing it, then do it. And if there's a year where there's no reason to do it, then don't do it. It'll be okay. If you skip a year, it's okay to then come back. But the problem is like the posters and the planning for these pay-per-views is done so far in advance. Like we saw War Games posters, I think in the spring when they made the announcement the show was coming to San Diego.
Yeah.
You don't know what the creative in like March, you don't know what the creative is going to be in September, October, but they have to make the announcement. So they committed to it. So we got to get a War Games match. Unfortunately, the creative was not there to really support it. And so here we are where you and I don't think either one of us are terribly excited about any of these matches.
No, and the fact that you mentioned we're getting 4 in the same month, it's like, I'm going to be fucking tired of it before we even get to Survivor Series.
We're getting 4 in a 2.5 week span. For Forget the month.
They got to sell their fucking toys with their War Games cage from Mattel. It's like, bro, I'm over it, man.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the planning for this the planning that goes into this is months and months and months ahead of time. So they probably already know now, like, we're going to do War Games again next year. Let's just be honest. And my fear is that over time, it really does end up becoming like a Hell in a Cell, type of situation where they're just not coming up with the feuds and the creative to really support doing these types of matches. And then it just gets old after a while, right? It comes down to creative at the end of the day. If you can come up with a feud between two sides, even if you're mixing feuds together, but if there's a good justification for doing it, then fuck, man, do it. But if not, you go into it and it's cold. And it's just, yeah, maybe they'll have a really good match, but like, it's hard to get excited. It's hard to get really up for it. That's where I'm at right now.
It's like they're booking Survivor Series old school, man. We're just random fucking heels on the team against random baby faces in an elimination style 4-on-4 or 5-on-5 match. And nothing makes sense. It's like, now you put this cage in between these people, and it makes even less sense now. Like, I figured everybody would be like, all right, let's make sense of this. Let's have a year-long feud that culminates in this big cage.
Well, let me say this also. You want to go back? Let's go back to wrestling tropes, okay? Because here's one that annoys the shit out of me. We saw this last year. I think we've seen this the last couple of years. When did we start with this War Game shit where everybody has to grab a fucking weapon when they come down to the ring?
God, bro, I fucking hate that.
Before they even go into the cage, we got to go under the ring, and we got to get a kendo stick, and we got to get a chair, we got to get a Slim Jim table. Like, what the fuck? Where did this shit start?
It's so cheesy, dude. I can't stand it.
I can't, of course, I can't stand it either. Like, everybody's got to get a weapon. Like, really? When did that become a rule?
They don't realize how forced that feels. Like, let the violence just happen naturally. Like,
yes,
let me grab a weapon because that's exactly what we need in a cage.
Let me grab a trash can.
You're surrounded
That'll
by
help.
A fucking weapon, man.
Yes, the cage is the weapon. The cage is the weapon. But you know what the problem is? Here's the problem. Go back to those early days of the War Games matches in the NWA. Yes, the cage was the weapon. And you would have guys that were raking a guy's face like a cheese grater across the cage because there was blood, and they don't allow that anymore. So they rely on these dumb weapons, the same weapons they always rely on, as a crutch because you can't get blood. Right? If you get blood, it's probably hard way, right? You're not going to go in there. Everyone's not going in there and fucking blading in War Games. So you can't rely on that anymore, right? That was a great visual back then. Dusty roads, pouring blood against the horse. We can't do that shit no more. So you got to rely on the Slim Jim tables, and you got to bring this in, you got to bring that in. But it's like, what annoys me is that, like, you could have, like, let's say your teammate is being assassinated inside this cage, and you come out of the pod and you run down to the ring, right? Your fucking brother is in there, he's being murdered. All right, bro, hang tight. I got to go under the ring first, and I got to fish out a chair, right? So go under the ring, and let's see what we can find. Meanwhile, your teammate is being killed in the ring. Like, it's just, it defies all logic. It is just so nonsensical to me.
I don't know how they just look at that and just let it fly, man. And then what is this going to be? The 7th year in a row that EO jumps off the cage with a fucking trash can over her body?
Of course. Well, that's why there's no top on the cage, right? We have to let people dive off the top.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Those NXT matches, they were not like that, man. The War Games matches, they were not like that. It was just all-out war with the Undisputed Era. They were in there 3 years in a row, and then all of a sudden the main roster got it. And I don't remember any of them being memorable at all. I really don't. Last year's was fucking ultimately disappointing because nothing happened. What happened?
I remember. I'm just thinking of the women's match last year.
Awful.
Yeah, I remember there was
Nia Jax was in that for 35 minutes, man. 35 minutes. Remember that?
Let's never do that again.
People want her in this year's War Games. That's the problem.
Yeah, but some people like hot wax poured on their nipples. Okay, you can't really take those people seriously. They enjoy being tortured. So I mean, let's just.
I think the most memorable thing that happened at War Games was CM Punk returning to the company after the match was over. That's the one thing I remember about the main roster War Games.
Well, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know, man. That's a terrible trope. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't get it, and I'm hoping for the best here. In the span of 2 weeks, we got 4 of these matches. In some way, you could look at it as counter programming. I know Tony probably had that date locked in. WWE obviously had that date locked in, but They're happening in the same month, so who's going to outdo the other? I'm sure Tony's going to try his best to bring back the feeling of what War Games really is. So we'll see what happens.
He's up first, so he's gonna try to do something big.
I'm going with Tony Khan here. I don't think WWE's had a good main roster War Games match yet. So, well, they have, but not in the way that I'm wanting it. I want all out chaos, but it's just fucking sterile garbage. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's coming up, and we'll keep you guys posted on that. I'm sure we'll talk about that and touch upon what the teams are looking like for WWE when we get to the Monday Night Raw discussion. Let's shift gears to Saturday night's main event. Let's briefly go over this. Jason and I were both live on Saturday with this. I thought it was a good show. It isn't anything to really go back and rewatch. These shows are largely just, again, sterile is a good word to use. They don't have any fun with these shows, bro. You know, I look at this. I actually enjoyed Monday Night Raw last night better than Saturday night's main event because it felt like an actual show. I just feel like WWE is at a point with these Saturday night's main events where it feels almost like they're being held captive and they have to do it because they're contractually obligated to do it. And they don't really give a shit about making it fun or making it different. We got 4 championship matches being that. And they didn't have any fun, man. There's no in-between promo. There's no backstage segment. There's no old school, just like, let's go backstage to see what this person is thinking or anything.
No, we got 10 minutes of commercials, and then we have 15 minutes of entrances. So there's no time to do any of the stuff that you've just described.
I don't know why there's a time frame. They're on Peacock. I'm assuming they could go 2 hours and 30 minutes and really give you a fucking feel for the show being special. It's like nobody knows how to have be fun or know how to be special anymore. So all the same shit. Now the great thing is we got no mid-match commercials. That was the biggest takeaway from this. We watched all these matches with no interruptions. So the first thing that I thought of, and I tweeted out, there's no commercials during this Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre match. And the first thing that I thought is, thank God we're going to get John Cena's retirement match commercial free. It's the first thing I thought of. So that was the biggest change. But outside that, no Joe Test because he's doing college football. They've blacklisted our guy Jesse Ventura because he spoke too openly about a steel cage match back in May.
Well, apparently Jesse or whoever runs his account, I believe maybe on Facebook, mentioned that don't worry, he'll be there December 13th. So we'll see. Well, maybe they're bringing him in for John Cena's final match.
Well, if you listen to some people, so is Vince McMahon and Donald Trump. They'll be in the building too.
Well, it's not why I'm watching the show.
I don't think that's any reason to watch the show. Honestly,
I don't really give a shit. A lot of people talking about Vince McMahon possibly being there. It's almost like they're excited. By the way, I would not be shocked if he was. Not necessarily on camera, but just if we get like reports like Vince was in the building, like he was there, because he is. Cena's still close with him. You know, he's a very close friend of Cena's, and I think if Cena wanted him there, I think that they would smuggle him into the building. I think that would not at all shock me if he ends up being there.
Did you see what JBL said about Vince McMahon's new memoir coming
out? I didn't because he has me blocked. So I don't really see if he tweeted it. Was this on his podcast or did he tweet this?
It was on his podcast. He mentioned, I'll give you the over-under on the book in 2 years when asked if he meant a book could be out in the next 2 years about, obviously Vince McMahon's his own book. I think there's probably 99 to 100% chance. And then he goes on to say that I have a feeling it will be raw and it will be completely no freaking hiding anything. I think Vince is going to let everything out. And I think it's going to be one of the best books ever written, he says.
So when he said this, was he sitting in a chair or was he on all fours? I'm just wondering. I didn't see the clip, so I don't know,
man. Who watches
I'm just asking the questions. I'm just asking the question. Here's the thing about him, and I feel the same way about him that I did about Hogan's. And Hogan had 2 books, I think. The problem is, would anybody believe anything that this man has to say?
Vince, no.
That's the problem. Like, he would have, whatever you think of him as a human being, right? He's been around for a very long time. He's worked with all the major names in the company and in the wrestling business, by and large. He would have a very interesting story to tell if he was more of an honest broker and had his memory and faculties. I don't get the sense when he was interviewed in some of these documentaries, he remembers a lot of shit. So I feel like, yeah, if he came out with a book, maybe there'd be some salacious stuff in there, but who can believe it? Like, would you be able to believe the authenticity of the stories that this man would tell in his book? And what would he even be talking about? Because I feel like a lot of the stuff the fans would want to hear about, it's probably more like about specific characters and angles and storylines and what went into this and that. I don't think a Vince McMahon book would be about that. I think it would be kind of a letdown in that regard. Like, a lot of what people would want him to talk about, he probably wouldn't talk about because he probably doesn't remember.
Why would Vince McMahon reveal any of his secrets and anything that he really did backstage in a book that would embarrass himself or make him look bad? He's only going to skew the narrative and make himself look like he's the fucking god among men after this whole situation with Janelle Grant is over with in 2 years. Hopefully.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. So I can't say that I have a whole lot of interest in what he would have to say in the book. Again, it might make news. It might make headlines for one reason or another. We know JBL will buy, 15 copies of them and get them autographed. So, good for him. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, okay, maybe he'll do a book, but I can't say that I'm terribly intrigued to see what the man has to say, because I just can't trust that what he would say, would be the truth.
No, there's no reason for that.
It would be his version of the truth.
Yes, it would be. There's no reason for anybody to believe a word out of that man's mouth.
No.
Saturday night's main event. So, yeah, we got Jesse Ventura, in regards to him, obviously with his comments about the steel cage match with Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre back in May, and then obviously his problem with the officiating on these shows. They pulled him and silenced him for now, hopefully. Hopefully he will be back, because he does add a nice element to the show. Joe Tess wasn't there because of college football. He was in Jacksonville on Saturday night. So we got a really stripped down version of Saturday night's main event with Wade Barrett, Michael Cole. We got Lillian Garcia in the old school microphone coming down from the ceiling. We got the colors, the red, white, and blue ring rope. So it was very in tune to Saturday night's main event, but it almost felt like a very stripped down version of Monday Night Raw, basically, on a Monday night. So we opened with Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. And I know a lot of people were hoping Drew McIntyre, Jason, was going to win the championship. But as soon as this match opened the show, I think a lot of people kind of figured that there was going to be no title change here. And the match itself was good. I don't think Cody, outside of the match with John Cena at WrestleMania, has bad matches. Drew McIntyre doesn't have bad matches.
Yeah, I would say I put it marginally above their match at WrestlePalooza.
Yes, it was, in my opinion as well, it was better than their match at WrestlePalooza, just by a little bit. But the thing that bothered me is the fact that the creative team is so lazy that they did this stipulation. Now, I wasn't live for Friday. I took the night off. And I was watching SmackDown, and I canceled the stream like after the whole show was over. I'm like, this show is fucking horrendous. So I don't even feel like talking about it. So they got this stipulation where McIntyre's not going to agree to sign the contract because he thinks Cody's a politician, and he thinks Cody's crooked, and everything goes Cody's way. And he's talking about, well, what happened if Cody gets disqualified or counted out? He keeps the championship. So they skewed the rules, and they put it within the contract that if there's a count out or disqualification, Drew McIntyre would win the championship. So they played this up in the match, and we get to the end of the match, and I'm looking at this, and I'm seeing people's displeasure with it because he didn't win the championship. And I'm looking at the creative team, and I'm thinking to myself, isn't this the same thing that they did kind of with Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes at the beginning of the year? It all started on that last Saturday night's main event where he shoved Triple H. He gave Cody the package pile driver. He stole the Winged Eagle belt, and he walked out of the building with it. They cut that angle on social media, which built to their ladder match at the Royal Rumble, which was fantastic. But the ending of this match was almost identical to what happened in that match with Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. It was the belt, a crossroads on the belt. Kevin Owens felt slighted and wronged, and then he snapped and attacked Cody, and that's the way they went off the air, building to the Royal Rumble match. The same ending here. With the belt being brought into the match, Drew McIntyre brought the belt in. Cody used it. He used the heel tactic as the babyface to quote unquote loosely cheat to win because he used the weapon.
I mean, not really. I mean, the belt was just laying there on the mat. He didn't introduce it into the match. It was laying there.
So it's part of the ring now, too, huh?
Yes. It was part of the ring.
It's part of the ring, like the fucking steel posted and steel steps are part of the ring now.
He didn't introduce it into it was like the ring sprang a growth and it was just laying there on the mat.
Sure.
So, hey, you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Sure.
Look, the bottom line is there was a complete lack of creativity in what they did here for this finish. And more or less, this was the second time now that Cody has beaten Drew McIntyre basically clean. Let's just call it what it is. Remember what happened in the first match at WrestlePalooza when he went to go give him the Claymore through the announce desk and the referee jumped in the way, which, again, why would the referee do that? It's not an illegal move, but whatever. He got him out of the way. And he went to go give the kick and Cody moved. And he put his foot through the table and he sold it like he broke his foot, right? But again, it wasn't anything Cody did. And that ultimately led to his downfall. He got beat. So in this match, he introduces the belt into the ring. He tries to use it. It backfires on him. Cody DDTs him on the belt and he pins him. And so for the second time, Drew looks like a schmuck. Now, they introduced these two new stipulations on Friday to at least try to make the match a little more intriguing. Like, oh, this makes it more likely that Drew might actually win the championship. Maybe, somebody will show up. Maybe Randy Orton will show up. Maybe something will happen and they'll actually do a title change. And I just didn't buy into it just because of what I said on the show last week here, where I said, we're going to get a new women's champion. Like, bar none guaranteed. We know that title is changing hands. And maybe they will crown a new World Heavyweight Champion and the bronze won't run in and ruin the match. I cannot see them also changing the WWE title on the show. So I personally never really fully bought into the idea that there would be a title change, but at least they tried, right? To make it a little more interesting going into the match. And then I see what they did in the match and I'm like, all right, well, the match itself was good. It was fine, but that's it. Like, that's the big finish here to the rematch between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. It was so lame. And I feel like I find myself saying that about a lot of match finishes, that we've been seeing in some big matches here in this company. Like how lame and safe and like basic. You know what I mean? So,
and that sucks because Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes are two of the best storytellers they have, and they do nothing with them.
Sure. Well, I mean, I just look at it now and I go, okay, I'm sure they're going to run this back again at Survivor Series, but it's like, why?
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, it's like, why? I can already map out in my head what the Drew McIntyre promo is going to look like on Friday, where he's going to come out and he's going to complain again about being screwed. Oh, the referee didn't see me get, DDT'd on the belt. I got screwed. That's like, all right, how many times are we going to watch the show each week and hear the same promo over and over and over again? At what point do we just get completely sick and tired of it and we're just over the whole thing? And it's like, you know what? I don't even care now if Drew wins the belt. Like, why even run this back a third time? There has to be a reason, which makes me think that we are going to get a Randy Orton return, but I thought we'd have a Randy Orton return this past weekend. I'm like, is this guy ever going to come back to work? Are they ever going to give him the call and say, hey, we need you? Because if you don't bring him back for Survivor Series, we have how many more weeks now between now and Survivor Series? 3 weeks?
3.5 weeks.
Are we going to get 3 more weeks of the same promos that we've already heard from these two men over and over again? Or do you introduce something or someone new into this program just to change things up a little bit? You almost have to.
Bro, I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt. They're going to run this match back at Survivor Series. I don't think we see Randy Orton integrated into a triple threat match like we've been talking about. And I think they wait for Cody and Randy at WrestleMania. I think that's what they're waiting for. So we have to sit through this boring, nonsensical, lame, uncreative Cody title run where he takes the title into WrestleMania and then maybe Randy turns heel and we get the match at WrestleMania. Because my hope of Punk and Cody ain't happening now that he's the World Heavyweight Champion.
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, it's unlikely that he would bounce from one belt to the other, but I'm just saying technically you could have Punk not go into WrestleMania as the champion. You could have him lose that title to Breakker even at the Rumble. And then Punk comes back the next month and wins the Chamber in Chicago. He picks Cody to go after WrestleMania. Now, is Triple H actually going to do something kind of interesting like that? No, I'm sure he's not. But there's at least a chance that maybe that happens. So, but if you say it's going to be Cody and Randy, so then you have Randy winning the Rumble or winning the Chamber then, because that's the only way he's going to get that match with Cody.
Well, I would say he would have to win the Rumble.
That? You see him winning the Rumble or the Elimination Chamber? Because I don't.
I'm still hoping for a Punk Cody situation. I just don't like the fact that if he drops the title to Braun Breaker, which he should, at the Rumble, I think it's nonsensical to have him drop the title only to win the Chamber, then go after the other championship. Like, that should have been his main priority focus anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's less likely now. Like, he's just going to bounce. Oh, I lost this one. I guess I'll go try for this one now. So it's unlikely. But to say that, well, it's obviously not going to happen or it can't happen because he has this belt, I don't know that Punk is holding on to it all the way until WrestleMania. I wouldn't say that's a guarantee. So there's at least a chance. Just because I keep looking at that Elimination Chamber show, and it's like, you would think that Punk winning the Chamber on that show would be like something that they would want to do, in which case he'd have to lose the belt before then. But yeah, the Randy Orton thing is very weird. I know when Randy Orton signed his last contract, maybe in an interview, he made mention of, the company now is more conscious of having family time, and, he gets more time off now than he did when he worked for Vince. So I don't know what his contract is structured like in terms of his schedule, if he's got a certain number of days off each year. We don't see Randy Orton very often on TV. He's not around a whole lot. As much as I would love to see Cody and Randy, like, I've been waiting for that feud for the entire time that Cody has been back in the company, because there's a history there to tap into, obviously. They did one match at the King of the Ring, and that was it. And so it's like, if Randy is not going to be around mostly full time, do we really want him in the WrestleMania main event? Do we really want him challenging for, or maybe even winning, the WWE Championship? Is that even realistic? Like, that they would do that and put the belt on him if he's not going to be around that often? Or is he going to be around more often, if he wins the championship? Because if he's not, I don't want him to be the champion.
Well, who's to say Cody needs the championship? I don't know why we're still hanging on this fact that Cody needs the championship going into WrestleMania.
Cody doesn't need the championship, dude. Both of us were calling for the same thing, which was a Drew title run. There's nothing wrong with putting the belt on Drew for even 2 or 3 months.
I'd like to see something different. Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn, Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu, something fucking different with that championship.
Last year, the Kevin Owens stuff, you brought up the Kevin Owens stuff. What would have been wrong with having Kevin Owens win the WWE Championship?
Nothing.
And then drop it back to Cody in the ladder match. What would have been wrong with that?
Nothing.
He was basically the champion anyway. He's walking around with the winged eagle for 2 months.
Bro, I am so in favor of a 1 month, 2 month title reign, to drop it as long as it makes sense. It's almost like the mystique of jobber matches. They don't happen as often as we need them to happen.
It's funny, and I answered a mailbag question about this. I just talked about this on my podcast this weekend. And somebody sent in a question about what are the most memorable short title runs. So I did a whole segment on this. And I said, you know what we need more of in wrestling, or in WWE specifically? We need more of that. We need more short title runs. And I'm not saying that we should go back to the Russo Attitude Era days of just hot potatoing the belt every other week. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, it feels to me, more so now than ever before in my fandom, that they are so hung up. It's not just a WWE thing, but it's especially a WWE thing. They're so hung up on long title runs. And I don't just mean world champions. They've done this with the Intercontinental title, and with Gunther, sure, they were going to have a dominant champion, and he's like the final boss, and fine. We've seen this with the world titles, the IC title. We've seen this with the tag team titles. We just came off a Judgment Day run. They were the tag team champions for how many fucking months? And they had, 2 title defenses? And they were making fun of it on TV. Adam Pearce was like, it would be nice if you defended your title. Yeah, shithead, you're the general manager. You can make that happen. You do realize that, right? It's like they're openly mocking it. When did we get to the point where, these long title runs became the norm? Because to me, the more you do those, the less special it is to be the champion for however many, months or whatever. I mean, Roman had the ultimate run. He was 1,300 something days. But we have so many of these now, and it's boring. It makes for boring television when before the bell doesn't even ring yet, dude, and you already know the outcome of the match.
Yeah, it's a problem with both companies. It's awful.
Right. So that is a problem across the board in wrestling right now, and it's like they're scared, or they just love the records. Right? We got to set a record so we can mention this person's been champion for this many days. Who gives a shit? Seriously, who cares?
Cody's greatest asset is the way he tells a story. He doesn't need the WWE Championship. In my opinion, anyway, I think he's above the WWE title. He finished his fucking story. He got the match that he wanted. He had a main event with The Rock. What else does the guy need to do with the WWE Championship? It's almost like WWE doesn't know what else to do with that title, so they put it on their most popular guy who's going to walk around and be the face of the company with or without the title. He's going to make TV appearances with or without the title. I know it enhances him, and he's got that big logo over his shoulder, but, I mean, holy shit, like, Cody, putting the belt on Cody and keeping it on Cody till WrestleMania is more damaging to that show and to that belt than anything right now. Like, I don't give a shit who it is. I just want it off of him.
Well, especially on SmackDown, where SmackDown more so than Raw, I mean, can really use the help right now in terms of like a little shake up, a little kick in the ass. And I just feel like with the right story, because again, it comes down to the story that you have in mind, changing the title is perfectly fine. If you change it even only for a few months and it's important to get that belt back on Cody well before WrestleMania, fine. You still have plenty of time to do that. But like a Drew McIntyre or whoever it is, look at the Raw side. LA Knight hasn't won the championship, but like he had this ridiculous losing streak over the summer where he lost pretty much 98% of the matches that he was in, to the point of just comedic absurdity. But like, how many times are you going to run the same people back over and over and over again, and they're going to fail and fail and fail and lose and lose? And it's like, okay, well, after a while, people stop caring, and it's not fun anymore. Why are they so afraid to make moves like this? And what are they afraid of? I know they're all about their, like, we tell stories. It's cinema.
It's like Marvel.
Like, oh, yeah. Oh, I love that. That's like the new thing now. What was that fucking quote? We're a lot closer to Marvel than we are UFC.
Let me see if I can.
Yeah, no. That's what it was. Like, oh, we're more akin to Marvel than we are UFC. Yeah, we have Captain America as our WWE champion right now.
Yeah, he says, I got it right here. Let's see. We don't write shows based on that. It'll be a great match. We write stories on. We write it on the stories that we can create. The protagonist, the antagonist. How does that work with each other? And then he talks about Marvel. I would say we're much more akin to like the Marvel universe, where you're planning out long term where the movies fit and how they go with all the characters.
Let me stop you. I'm going to ask you an honest question. You better give me an honest fucking answer, okay? When was the last time that you think Triple H saw a Marvel movie?
What is that? Is Batista's thing there part of Marvel universe?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I don't even know that he saw that.
I mean,
they mocked him for that.
If there was one, it was that.
No, they mocked him for that, dude. Like, do you remember that whole story?
I do.
Yeah, I mean, when he wanted to like promote that on TV and everything. This is when he came back in 2014.
Yeah, because they were
like
jaded. He left them. Yeah.
Yeah, and Triple H and Stephanie were like, because they didn't realize how big of a deal that movie was going to be, and they basically like laughed him out of the room. So like, I cannot believe that Triple H is going to his home movie theater and sitting down to watch the latest Avengers movie and to watch this and to watch that. Give me a break, dude. Like, you're not running Marvel. You're not running DC. Okay. And you can call it sports entertainment. You can call it cinema. You can call it whatever fancy terminology you want to use to try to mainstream yourself. At the end of the day, you are professional wrestling. That's what you are. That's what you always will be. Now, they have a very distinct version of pro wrestling that's very different than AEW and some of these other companies. Sure. They have the WWE way. But at the end of the day, it's still pro wrestling, right? And you have the protagonist and the antagonist, the good guys and the bad guys. You got to tell stories. That's all true. But the stories that we're being told right now are not terribly interesting. And that's the problem. How many stories right now in WWE would you say are truly fun to follow? What's your favorite story on WWE television right now?
Honestly,
do you have a favorite?
I don't have a favorite, and this isn't even necessarily a story. It's more lazy. The best thing on WWE television right now is the U.S. Open Challenge.
Yes.
Just because of the people that have held the championship and are putting on great matches every week. That's why.
Yes.
But then he wants to say it's not about the pro wrestling match. It's about the stories that we build in the match or towards the match.
Yes. And in AEW, in my opinion, the best thing and my favorite thing right now, and it's such a simple story, is Takeshita and Okada.
I agree. I didn't like it at first, but after the segment on the family get-together on Wednesday, I thought like this is a good segment.
Oh, yeah. No. Okada in this particular program, feud, whatever, Okada's been fantastic. He's such a great, just asshole heel. But like in WWE, like they're so hung up on stories and they talk about this all the time. You would think it's the most important thing in the world to them. And yet the product right now just feels so cold, right? I'm not saying even business wise, because they're still selling a lot of tickets and making a lot of money and all that. But yeah, like, okay, for a company that's so hung up on story and comparing themselves to Marvel, this is one of the worst Marvel movies I've ever seen this year. Like, so him playing it safe is a criticism you hear a lot. Triple H, he plays it safe for whatever. He's got an eye for the future, like too far into the future. That's great. I think it's great that you have an eye towards some destination you want to get to. Maybe he's already got it mapped out in his head what WrestleMania in Vegas is going to look like. Great, right? We're getting into that point of the year where he should be thinking about that. But that doesn't mean that in the meantime, you do this slow burn, this just slog to get there where we have to sit through the same shit over and over and over again. And nothing ever really feels like it changes. Even these main events on Monday nights, like the match we saw last night, I don't think we've seen that match before. I don't think CM Punk and Jey Uso prior to last night were a tag team. And yet I was watching this match, like when they made it, and I said, even though this is the first time we're seeing this, why do I feel like I have seen this match like 10 times in the last 2 months?
Bro, you gave them a little bit too much credit there, man. It's the same fucking shit, no matter who's in there, man. It don't matter.
It's so weird. Like, I feel like I've seen this same fucking match like so many times.
Because we've seen Jey Uso and Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed in the same ring for the last 7 months.
Yes. And nothing ever seems to change. It's like Groundhog Day.
Oh. By the way, when WWE got mad at Batista for that Guardians of the Galaxy role, and they wanted to be petty, he actually landed a role that same year, I believe, in 2015 in James Bond, Spectre.
Yes.
He played Mr. Hinks.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great fucking movie. I love all those. I think Daniel Craig is great. I'm sad to see him go as James Bond.
It's my second favorite Bond behind Roger Moore.
Yeah, me too. I'm not familiar with Roger Moore. I haven't watched any of the movies, honestly. Pierce Brosnan was good too. So it's Craig and then Pierce Brosnan. I thought he was.
Yeah, no, I mean everybody will say Sean Connery. He's the Bond. Like for me, I just grew up. We had the tapes in the house of the Roger Moore movies. You know, The Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker and all that. So that's what I grew up with. But yeah, I mean Batista's landed some pretty good roles since then. Look, I saw that one M. Night Shyamalan movie, Knock at the Cabin. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes, I saw that. He was great in that fucking movie.
He was the best part of the whole movie. The movie wasn't really that great, but like
what a sadistic fuck he was in that movie. He came off like a normal guy, but man, there was some evil behind him. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't really an evil character though, but you know, he was the best part of them. What was his name? God, was it Walter or?
Let me find. I'll find it now.
Yeah, what was the name of his character? Because honestly, he was the best part of that entire movie.
Like I watched that just recently too, within the last year.
Yeah, it's just like his range as an actor is better than any other wrestler turned actor that I've seen. That's why when people ask like the question, who's the best actor among The Rock and John Cena and Batista, Cena has made some. I really need to see that Peacemaker show, but to me, it's Batista. Batista's number one.
Leonard,
and I've seen him. Leonard, yes. Okay, now Walter. Yes, it was Leonard. But I saw a lot of his movies that nobody would even know that he was making years ago because he was just trying to take on different roles and just try to improve and get better. And like even then, it was like, you know what, this guy's got something there. So yeah, I always laugh at that. Like they were kind of making fun of him, and it's like, you know what, good for him. He kind of got to throw it back in their face.
Oh man, see what the discussion devolved into, man. We're talking about Drew McIntyre. We're talking about James Bond. It's like it's all. This is why
that's how terrible wrestling is. Let's get James Bond on WWE television. Let's do that.
By the way, Pierce Brosnan was not a bad 007. I love Pierce Brosnan because of the video game for Nintendo 64, man. One of the greatest games of all time.
Oh, GoldenEye?
Yeah.
That was for N64, right?
Yes.
Because I couldn't play that. I didn't have the N64.
Supposedly it's remade. It's modded somewhere. You can still play it. Huh. Anyway, yeah, Drew McIntyre lost. I don't know where they're going with him and Cody into Survivor Series. We'll see if Randy gets involved on Friday. Like Jason mentioned, I know Randy has been very open about the schedule and how Triple H allows talent, especially at that level, to spend more time with their families. And Thanksgiving's coming up and Survivor Series is happening What was it, Thanksgiving week, right? That week, that Saturday?
That's Saturday, yeah.
So, yeah, so it's like, is he going to be there? Is he going to get time off for Thanksgiving? I don't know. So we'll see what happens. After that, we got the women's match, Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. This match lasted maybe 5-6 minutes at best. And I think coming into this, after the heel turn we saw with Jade on Friday Night SmackDown, which I thought was very well done, that a title change was more than likely going to happen here. WWE has had Tiffany, well into the 250 date range as women's champion on Friday Night SmackDown. They've made a mention that she's been undefeated for the better part of 2025 up until the Tiffany Stratton and Stephanie McCare match at Crown Jewel.
Just another example of what I'm talking about. What was it, 250 days?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, great.
And she's held the championship since January.
She has had a terrible run, not through any fault of her own, but just they haven't had anyone interesting lined up for her. So she had a very unremarkable run as champion. I don't care how many. Are you impressed by the fact that she was 250 days women's champion?
No.
Does that impress you?
Do you want to know why? Because I can't remember a single fucking thing that she did that was memorable in this 250
days. I can't remember one single memorable match from that run outside, if you want to mention the match at WrestleMania with her and Charlotte, if you want to mention that, where it looked like they were laying shit in on each other and everybody thought she got her teeth knocked out.
Yeah, the promo about Kaiser being in the DMs, and then maybe Tiffany versus Trish Stratus at Evolution, just because it came out of fucking nowhere and it was just done willy-nilly, just one and done. That
wasn't a bad match, but that was just a match.
Yeah.
It was a match, and even Trish admitted, like, we didn't even have time to really build it up. There was no story behind it. It was just a match for the sake of doing a match. So I ask you, during that entire 250 some odd day run that she had as champion,
saying 300, by the way, even worse.
Oh my God, even better. Even better. 300 days as the champion. Can you name me, honest to God, one match during that run that you will look back on and go, man, that was the match that defined that woman's run as champion? That was a great fucking match.
You know what? Now that you mention it, it doesn't define the run, but she did have a very good match with Nia Jax on a random SmackDown. I forgot what it was, but it was a very good match.
Okay, so very good TV match. Is that... Yeah. That's the bar we've set?
Yes, Nia Jax.
Of all the PLEs that she probably defended that title on and all the big matches, that's the one that we're going to settle on right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, awful.
I think you just proved my point.
Yeah, I know. It was awful. Nothing memorable came out of it.
Yeah. So again, I would have been way more impressed if they had some really good opponents and stories lined up for her, and she was only the champion for 150 days. Instead of 300, and then she dropped it to someone maybe at SummerSlam.
You know what the problem is? And I may mention this several times in the past. She is fucking awful as a babyface. That's what she. That's the problem. Her as a heel in NXT was great when she worked against Becky Lynch. This babyface Tiffany Stratton, I can't connect with this. What is it? What is she trying to be? As
a babyface, she's totally miscast. She's popular. I mean, I'm not saying the people have turned on her. They boo her when she comes out. You know, they still. They cheer for her. She's a star, but she comes out there and she acts like a heel. I don't know. It's just the way she carries herself and the way she cuts the promos and everything. It's the same Tiffany Stratton that we saw like in NXT when she was a heel, right? So nothing really changed. She hasn't evolved over time. So I think that she's a terrible babyface, to say nothing of her in-ring ability. That's a completely separate thing. She's a fine wrestler, but that was the issue with her and Jade, where, you had these two wrestlers and it's like they both felt like they needed to turn. You could have turned either one of them and it would have been a positive for them. But for Jade, it just made more sense because she was going to be dead in the water if she would have gone in there and just lost to Tiffany again, especially as a babyface.
Yeah.
So I think turning her heel was the best thing that could have happened to her. And actually the way they booked this match was perfect. Like the match went exactly the way that it should have gone. It didn't overstay its welcome. Jade got to shine. She dominated 95% of the match, right? So it would, the way I compared it, this was the female equivalent to Brock Lesnar and John Cena at WrestlePalooza.
That's funny. It's funny you use that analogy. I actually mentioned Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn at SummerSlam when Braun Breaker won the IC title back.
Yeah, but it reminded me more of Brock and Cena. Yeah. That was more recent, but also like Cena got some offense in. It wasn't like a 100% squash, but it was like a 95% squash. That's basically what this was. I mean, Tiffany got to do her senton where it looks like she's going to spike herself one of these days. She did the senton. She did a few moves. but it was all Jade. And Jade was throwing her around with those fall-away slams, and then the power bomb, and another power bomb, and another power bomb, and then the Jaded, and that was it. And it's like, good. That's exactly what this new heel Jade needed to be. She made a statement. She ended this 300-day run as champion, and now she can be, the alpha female on SmackDown. So I felt like this match, short as it was exactly what it needed to be. This did not need to be a 15-minute mat classic. It was never going to be.
No, and then Tiffany was also protected with the knee injury coming on in there.
Right,
So
right. That's a whole other.
Yeah.
The need to protect everybody is also.
nobody can lose clean, man. These companies are allergic to just giving out wins and losses. Man.
I've never seen companies that are just so afraid of their own shadow.
I don't know.
Do they have that little faith in
Yes.
in the talent that if they get beat clean in a match, like, oh my God, like they'll never recover from this. Like, you would think that they have like no faith in them or in their own booking ability. Like, every now and then, sure, like there's an injury or whatever, you want to protect somebody, but they do it so often. It's like every babyface needs to be protected at all times.
They don't want to put any more effort than they have to, man. To write somebody after a loss. They don't want to put any extra effort in to build that person back up after a loss. We'll just protect them, and then it'll basically by default eliminate the reason why they lost.
Yeah. Like, okay, Jade won the title, but she beat a one-legged woman. So
that's exactly how they think.
Yes. Like they're so terrified, dude. Like, what are you so afraid of? What are you so afraid of?
It happens in WWE, it happens in AEW, it happens on the indies. I mean, give me a break, man. It's all over the place. Nobody knows any better. It's like just fucking wins and losses, man. It's all right to lose. It's all right. You come back the next night.
Yeah. And look, with certain heels, they cheat to win or whatever, and it gives the babyface reason to say, oh, that's not fair what this guy did, put more heat on that person. I get that. But like, it happens nearly all the time. It's like such a crutch now. All right, well, if this person's going to lose, we got to figure out what we're going to do. I especially like it when there's like a tournament, like the King of the Ring qualifying matches, Money in the Bank qualifying matches. And you'll notice they were all triple threats this year. And one of the reasons that they did that was because in some of those matches, there were people that, well, we can't beat them. So we got to have a third person in the ring so they can lose the match. And then it's okay.
But looking at it that way, yes, that's exactly why they did it. Not to say it was a bad tournament. I thought the actual tournament was good. There was some good matches there, but
no, but that's why they did triple threats. Like, come on, dude. Like, really? Is that necessary?
Why I like the Continental Classic every year, but then Tony fucking devalues it because he puts guys in there that are going to take a fucking loss. It's like, bro, you can't beat the top guys, but you put a fucking nobody in there to take a loss, and we know that they're going to go winless in the tournament. Like, come on, man.
Well, was not Hologram? Who was the Mortos? Mortos was in the tournament. Did Mortos even get one win?
No, he had 0 wins. Bro.
He got 0 wins.
0 wins. I think Commander was in there. He got 1 win. He got 1 win over Claudio last year, I think.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable. But Jade, like you mentioned, Tiffany was miscast or is miscast as a babyface. I think Jade was miscast as a babyface. And I think, and I said this on the 2 weeks ago, Friday when it happened, I said that this is going to open her up to be a little bit more like herself and speak in a way where she carries herself better. I felt like the babyface stuff was being forced. And it's going to hopefully make her work a slower match and a different style of match. She doesn't have to go out there and wow people. Like, she can wow people in a heel dominating way like we saw on Saturday. Like, you don't need, like Jason said, 15 minutes, like some big fucking impactful, pretty looking power moves. And that's it. Like, I would not mind this reign for Jade if they play strictly to her strengths and don't overdo it. The thing is, the SmackDown's women's division is fucking absolutely horrendous. So I said on my review on Saturday, sure, you got the title on a brand new heel who's hopefully going to take this into a feud with Bianca Belair, but what are we going to do until we get there? There's legitimately nobody on this roster, and you got the 2 biggest baby faces right now on SmackDown in a tag team not doing anything because there are no tag teams for them to work with. They're on Raw because all the women are over there. So what are they going to do?
Well, they're going to have no choice. At some point, they're going to have to, break them up into singles, even if they keep them as a team. And you're going to have to do Jade and Alexa, and you're going to have to do Jade and Charlotte. Jade and Charlotte is a match they've stayed away from. And I think there were a couple of times where they kind of ended up on stage together and they kind of had a little face-off. So they're going to have to because, dude, who else is there? Right? The other women on the roster are fighting over the U.S. title, right? That's the Chelsea and Kiana James and Alba Fire. They're not wrestling Jade.
No.
Right? And just look for baby faces. Like, who is there? There's Meechin.
Who?
There's B-Fab. I know.
Sure thing, man.
And
what do you think their rating is in WWE 2K25? 55, 56 maybe?
I don't even.
That's how little they're on TV.
I don't even want to know. Are they in the game at all? I don't even know if they're in the game. They may not even be in the game.
Who plays as them in the game? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. If their rating is as low as you say it is, I wouldn't want to play as them. And like babyfaces, Zelina's a heel now, and she's with Malachi or Alistair, whatever. And so legitimately, like I would have to look at the SmackDown women's roster to even know who are the other babyfaces. Nia's a heel. Who are we missing?
Oh, you got them all.
Got to be more than that.
I don't think so.
I have to investigate this.
Bro, you go to WWE.com and look at the SmackDown roster page, bro, you want to cry. I don't know how they've gotten away with it for so long. Seriously.
I don't know why they didn't do another transfer portal and just shuffle some people around this summer. I mean, you don't even need to do a draft show, dude. You could open that thing up and you could have like a 2 or 3 month period and you just move people where you want them to move. And they just have not shaken this roster up at all. And so SmackDown has really suffered as a result. So you've got, all right, let's see here. You've got Alexa Bliss. You've got Alba Fire, which we've talked about. You've got B-Fab. You've got Bianca, Candice LeRae.
Who's transitioning to a producer now.
And she's a heel. Chelsea's a heel. You've got Julia, who's a heel, but she's also the U.S. champion. You've got Tiffany. Piper Niven is out. Nia. Nikki Cross, who just doesn't wrestle. She stands there with the mask on. And
she stands in the shadows and just watches people's promos.
And just scares them. That's what she does. You've got, let's see here. You got Kit. Oh, no. I looked at this image of Kit Wilson. I thought it was one of the divas.
Who's that? Is that the one on TV or is that the one injured? I don't even know.
That's the one on TV.
Okay.
But he has the long hair and he's wearing this weird top. So I thought it was one of the women at first. You've got Meechin. Okay, who we said. That's it. That's all you got.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. They did fire Dakota Kai. It's crazy to think that she couldn't find some place on SmackDown, you know? And Tegan Knox they fired too. She couldn't find a place on SmackDown. Shotzi,
but it's not even that, dude.
SmackDown.
Like, don't you think it's time? Like, as stacked as that women's division has been in NXT throughout the year, don't you think it's time to tap into that well right about now?
Bro, if I'm a decision maker, I'm calling up Jordan Grace. I'm calling up Lola Vice. I'm calling up Jada Park. Something, man. I'm making something happen there. I mean, they got Kendall Gray, who's fucking great. Move her over to NXT. What is she doing on Evolve?
Yes, move her over to NXT to take a spot from someone who then gets bumped up to the main roster, right? There was talk even of Lash Legend. Like, you have options there. It doesn't just have to be Jordan Grace. It doesn't just have to be Blake Monroe. You have other women, Sol Ruka, Zarya. You have other women. You only need 2 of them, but you need time to establish them. I don't know what they're waiting for.
I don't know.
Because they need help right now, but you can't just call any of those women up and put them in there with Jade. You need time to just establish them and build them up first. And that takes a while. I don't know why they're just so hesitant to call any of these women up. Do they feel they're not ready?
I don't know, but the chat, you are absolutely correct. Dakota Kai, Shotzi, Shayna, Tegan. I mean, that's just a collective of talent there that I don't know. Looking at that now and the reason why they were let go, it's like, I don't know why a decision like that was made.
Yeah, but okay, but let's be honest though. Like, some of the names like that you just mentioned, they were not going to be in there wrestling Jade Cargill. Like, what we're talking about here is having women who we know WWE is going to elevate to a certain level on that show where we can look at that and go, okay, you know what? This woman would be realistically someone that they would slot in there to wrestle for the WWE Championship. Like, we're beyond talking about women that are going to wrestle for the U.S. title. Like, they just don't even have any women on standby who are ready to be elevated into that spot yet.
No.
Even a Jordan Grace, like, you still have to establish her on the show.
Jordan Grace is theoretically on their, I won't even call it it's a developmental, but not in the way people are thinking. Evolve is now the developmental. That's what
I thought LFG was their developmental.
Well, I don't know what LFG is, but the Evolve is their developmental. NXT is getting them ready for the main roster with TV and touring and all these big takeover shows, whatever, these PLEs. But Yes, Jordan Grace does not belong there. Like, this is a multi-time TNA Knockouts champion and one of the best women's pro wrestlers on the planet. And she's doing what? What is she fumbling around with at NXT? What is she doing there? Fuck, I know.
She's been there for a good chunk of the year. I mean, she had a run. She basically had an NXT run before she even signed with NXT.
She did.
So I was shocked that she started in NXT because it already felt like she had done stuff there. So it's like, okay, fine, they're going to start her at NXT. But that was like earlier in the year. It's November. Like, what are we waiting for?
It's like Shawn Michaels is one of them fucking guys that you watch on the History Channel, hoarding all this junk in his home. Like, bro, get rid of it.
Well, I wouldn't call them junk.
No,
but
you know what I mean. Yes,
I know what you mean. But like, if I'm him, I don't want to lose these women either. But at some point, Triple H has to be like, all right, bro, like, I need this person and this person. Like, you'll survive, but like, we have a need on this show right now, and they're just not doing that. And I don't know what they're waiting for, because looking at that roster just now, like, that is depressing.
Oh, that's Friday's just fucking egregious, bro. I can't watch it. Like, I don't know. I mean, Friday is so bad. Like, I was hoping they turned the corner. Like, those last couple of shows, I'm like, they were all right. Focusing on some things. Aleister Black is throwing fireballs to Damian Priest. It's like, all right, they're doing some things to integrate some of their more notable names. But that Friday show was fucking terrible. From Utah, that was awful.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Dragunov match, as is usually the case, is the only real redeeming thing on the entire show.
No. So, yeah, Jade won. Right decision. What she does next, I'm assuming they'll run back a Tiffany Stratton match again at some point. And then what do? We wait until WrestleMania to do Bianca? Does Bianca win the Rumble or the Chamber in Chicago?
Dude, I don't know when Bianca's going to be back. Every time I think she's about to come back, like, there was a report that she was there, I think, backstage in Salt Lake City. I don't know if she was visiting or trying to get cleared. I don't know what's going on with her. I would have expected her back by now. So I would hope she's back in time for the Rumble.
You would think.
I mean, do we even know that she'll be back before then?
I don't know. Well, according to Brian Alvarez, there's not going to be any surprises for the Royal Rumble.
Is that what he said? How does he know that?
I don't know.
In November, how does he know there's going to be no surprises in the Royal Rumble?
I'll read that in a little bit, but that was in the news too.
How do you even know that? It's fucking November 4th.
I don't know. I think his reasoning was it's going to be very difficult to keep secrets on a 17-hour flight and someone showing up over there. Like,
they got fucking private jet if they want to fly somebody over there under the dark of night. I think they could figure out a way.
Anyway, there was 4 championship matches. The third one on the night on Saturday was Dominic retaining over Penta and Rusev, defending the Intercontinental Championship. He retained over these two guys. I thought this was honestly the best match of the entire show, not because it was a great triple threat match in a sea of great triple threat matches this year, but this was fun. I think Penta and Rusev work great together. I think Dominic and his antics have been largely entertaining. I don't know how long they can keep that up before it starts getting old. But I thought what he did here with the ring bell, slightly confusing, but I thought that worked very well here, where he rang the bell while Rusev had Penta in the accolade, and Rusev thought he had won the title. I wanted to find out that Dominic was ringing the bell, and it actually distracted him to a point where the hammer got brought into the match, and it was the reason why Dominic won the match here and retained the championship. I thought this was fun, and like I said, Jason, I thought this was the best thing on the show.
Yeah, by default, it was the best thing on the show. It was a perfectly good, television match with these three men. They kept, the action flowing. It was, I don't know how long it went, but it was fine. And then when it was over, I'm like, okay, well, we know we're moving on now from Rusev and Penta in the IC title picture, because especially Penta has now had multiple opportunities and has failed each and every single time. And so it's time to move on to something different. Now, I was thinking that would be Dom and John Cena at Survivor Series, because that had been the rumor, and Meltzer talked about it, just like Meltzer talked about there being a tournament, and that turned out to be accurate. But you watch Raw last night. We may as well talk about Dominic now. You watch Raw last night, and there was no hint at all of Dom doing anything with John Cena. I will tell you that when he first came out, he came to the ring by himself, and he was talking about how he's the greatest of all time, the greatest luchador of all time. But this talk about him being the greatest, I thought that was going to be the kind of the segue into him bringing up John Cena. That's what I thought that segment was going to end up being. And maybe they don't even wait for Survivor Series. Maybe they were going to set something up for Boston or Madison Square Garden or something. And then Ray came out. And I'm like, well, this went in a totally different direction than I was thinking it was going to go in. But yeah, that turned out to be the most fun segment, in my opinion, on the show last night, was the interplay between Ray and Dom, especially the keep my father's name out of your mouth.
That was funny.
That was, Dom's, he's done that a few times where he'll bring up the Eddie thing. He'll kind of have fun with it. But now it looks like we're going to get Ray and Dom, I assume, in San Diego, which would be the perfect place for it. I was thinking that maybe they would build to Ray and Dom for the AAA mega title on a AAA show. I assume this would be for the Intercontinental title, but that would seem to eliminate the possibility of Dom and Cena. I mean, otherwise, I think we would have gotten at least some hint of that last night.
Yeah, I didn't even make the correlation with Dominic talking about being the greatest of all time and leading to possibly John Cena the next week. I didn't even think of that. I was just fixated on Rey Mysterio and Dominic. And I put out a tweet just kind of coming up with my predictions for Survivor Series and what the card's going to look like. I was so fixated on Ray and Dominic happening at that show because I do believe that's the place to do it. I mean, they got nearly 35,000 tickets out the door for that show without a single match announced. I mean, you do that match there and not on a fucking Worlds Collide show for AAA or whatever the case may be. People need to see that match. That's a big deal match.
Yeah, but you know what? They can do the match at Survivor Series and have Dom win.
Yeah.
And then they could run it back on a AAA show and have Ray win the AAA title.
They could do that, absolutely. But then now the question is, what does Cena do? Because he's advertised for Survivor Series. What does he do in San Diego? And he, being a part of that show, is he going to be integrated into the War Games situation? Because that's the only other place he fits in. And why would he fit into the babyface side? He has nothing to do with anybody outside of maybe if Brock Lesnar's announced for that team, he's going to join the babyfaces and get his revenge for the loss at WrestlePalooza inside War Games.
Yeah, it's tough because you don't have an issue on the babyface side finding people. It's the heel side where it gets a little dicey how you get to 5. On the babyface side, I mean, if you assume that you're going to have Punk and Roman on the same team. You have Punk, you have Roman. Jay, I'm sure, would be in there with them. That's 3. If Jay's in there, why would Jimmy not be in there?
Yep.
And then you would think maybe LA Knight,
yes.
Right? So you can easily come up with 5 names right there. So, there's no need for the baby faces to go, we're one man short. Unless they shot, and they've done stuff like this before where they could shoot an angle, 2 weeks before the show. Poor LA Knight. LA Knight gets taken out by the Vision, let's say. And now we're one man short. And then you hear the music. Out comes John Cena.
That's all the LA Knight fanatics need.
Oh, the LA Knight fans are going to lose their fucking minds if that happens. But don't tell me you can't see them doing something like that.
Of course I can.
And so then you can integrate Cena without there being a story. It's like, okay, John Cena's here to save the day, and he gets to be a part of his first and only War Games match. Whether Brock is on the other side or not, I would imagine he would be, because I'm having trouble coming up with 5 heels that make sense if Brock is not in that match. So maybe that's what Cena does. Maybe he ends up in the War Games match because, like you said, they've sold 30,000 plus tickets for a show where John Cena has been advertised. And maybe they never said he was going to wrestle. They said he was going to appear, but that would be pretty fucking lame.
Yeah.
If he didn't wrestle at his last Survivor Series.
So yeah, that I could see happening. I mean, I feel bad for LA Knight. We're already fucking booking him out of the match. It's like he fits into there, and I feel like he deserves that because we've seen him for months in these main events that just were rinse and repeat on Monday night. If there's anybody that has a problem with the Vision, it's LA Knight. So to take him out of the match is just sad to see him kind of creatively booked that way, but there's no other place.
Sad but predictable.
Yes.
But like you mentioned earlier with the Blood and Guts match on the women's side, like should Tony Khan be worried about, people getting injured? And like that would be an issue with Cena. Like, can you imagine, like, I don't want to jinx it, but like, can you imagine like if something happened and John Cena got injured in War Games and couldn't wrestle?
I honestly, bro, now that you put that into I cannot even imagine that.
That would be That would be awful. That would just be awful.
His retirement's delayed until fucking summer 2026.
Well, would it be? I don't know. I mean, he's been so adamant that no matter what, at the end of 2025, he's done. Can you imagine? Like, there's no match at all. Like, that's it. I'm never wrestling again. Like, how awful would that be? I would imagine he would still come back and have that one last match, but like, yeah, that would be a disaster.
Yeah, there's ways to. I guess there's ways around that. He could be the last guy to enter in, do all the signature spots, get the pin on Lesnar, and wins the match for the babyfaces. That's it's
yeah. I mean, we keep him in the corner or something.
Yeah,
he's not going to do the Bronson Reed dive off the top of the cage.
No,
Bronson Reed should not be doing the Bronson Reed dive.
No, I think he's learned his lesson if he's going to be in his second War Games match. So yeah, the babyface side looks to be pretty set now. We talked about Dominic and Ray. I absolutely believe that it should take place at Survivor Series. There's no better place for it. I thought that segment last night was great. But you're looking at the Vision's War Games team now. You're looking at Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, definite. Logan Paul now, we would assume. Not only does he fit the Vision, quote unquote, because he's always said that he is a future champion and he's better than 98% of the roster and more athletic. So he's definitely a part of the Vision, and he's going to be aligned with them at War Games. And he's got history with Punk. He was in the chamber with Punk. He's had some choice words for Punk. So he's wrestled Roman and he's wrestled Cena if Cena's going to be in there. So there is history with Logan and some of the baby faces going in War Games. But those three, and then we assume Brock Lesnar because of his affiliation with Paul Heyman. And then Austin Theory's name keeps getting thrown around. And I know Meltzer mentioned it, that Austin Theory's name has still come up in production meetings and creative meetings as fitting into the Vision's plan. Now, we don't know if that's legit or not, but Meltzer got the Cena tournament correct. He's predicted or reported that it will be Gunther as the final match for John Cena, which I don't know why, if he got the tournament right, why he wouldn't get that right, because that goes hand in hand. And now the Austin Theory thing, I can't really point, Jason, to anybody else that would be in that role for the Vision. If you're talking about maybe some NXT talent, maybe like an Ethan Page we've talked about, or I don't know, someone else down there. The Tony D'Angelo was brought up in a rumor too, going into Clash in Paris. But I think Austin Theory fits because I know when Paul Heyman was the executive producer of Monday Night Raw during the pandemic, Austin Theory was one of the Paul Heyman 5 or the Paul Heyman 6 on Monday Night Raw, and then obviously that went to shit. So I think he is going to be in that group going into War Games.
Yeah, I mean, the problem I have with it at this point is I wonder how things would have looked if Rollins didn't get hurt. I feel like Punk was not winning that title on Saturday.
No.
If Rollins is not injured. And I feel like that maybe is where we would have seen Austin Theory if it was going to happen, where he shows up as the newest member of the Vision. Now it's like, all right, you could add him to the group and try to kickstart his career, which has hit the skids now for years. Is there enough time to really build him up as like, oh, Austin Theory is, part of Team Vision? What's it going to mean? You only have a few weeks before Survivor Series. This guy's been booked as a comedy figure on the show for the last 2 years. Like, there's not enough time to really build him up as something that feels like, oh, he's worthy of being on this team. Something I talked about in my review last night also, and this is just an idea that maybe they go with if they don't want to do another title match on that show with Cody and Drew. Maybe they end up in War Games, even though they have nothing to do with what's going on with the Vision. If they want some SmackDown representation in there, you have Drew join the heel side, and maybe you have Cody join the babyface side, right? That's another possibility.
Well, that was some of the talking points when Rollins was still on the show. Like everybody was like, Drew McIntyre would be perfect in the Vision. I'm like, yeah, that works. So maybe it still works now the way that you have pitched it, for sure.
Yeah, we still have a lot of clarity that's yet to really play itself out as far as what these War Games. Dude, they really didn't. If you think about it, they kind of, if you really pay attention, hinted at like Logan and all that stuff, but they didn't give too much insight last night into what these War Games teams are really going to look like, at least as far as the men's. So you got to give it another week. I would hope that next week, things would become a little more apparent, because you want to have at least a couple of good solid weeks where you can really build this match up and not wait until the last minute to put these teams together. I'm sure Seth getting hurt, ruined their plans a little bit, but it shouldn't be that tough to come up with a plan B. I mean, they've known now for several weeks he's not going to be able to wrestle at Survivor Series. Logan Paul was the big story last night because when was the last time we saw him? Maybe SummerSlam? Or did he wrestle? No, he
Clash in
wrestled
Paris.
in Paris. That's right. Yeah. He had that match with Cena. So we haven't seen him since then. And then he shows up last night, and it's like, okay, he's a weird one because I give him credit and a lot of praise for, you know, the matches he has, and he's a tremendous athlete, very talented. And yet when he shows up, I'm like, I'm not excited to see him. Like, he showed up last night, and I'm like, are we really doing this? Are they setting up a title match soon too with Punk and Logan? Are we really doing this? Is this something that people were clamoring for?
See, the thing that bothered me is I don't mind seeing him. I think he's great as an on-air figure for sure. He just plays the crowd well. He's a great heel. He gets legitimate heat, which is always good television. The thing is, as the show went on and that segment happened in the beginning of the show, and he got, you know, in the brawl with the Vision, and he contemplated helping Punk. He eventually goes to help Punk. He gets beat down. He gets a tsunami. They show up at I guess a quarter through the show, and then Jey Uso is confronting CM Punk in the back, and they come up with a tag team match for the later in the show, and it ends up being Punk and Jey Uso versus the Vision. I said, and I don't know how you feel about it, Logan Paul should have been CM Punk's partner in the main event. Like, play up the fact that he was helping Punk, only to then turn on him before the match even starts. So it spared us from going 12 minutes for the same tag team match that we got for the last 3 months. I don't know why they plugged Jey Uso into that when he had nothing to do with the opening segment. Like, all he needed to do was get CM Punk's respect, and that was it. And then he finds himself in a tag team with Punk. Should have been Logan Paul. It would have made so much more sense.
No, but they needed to fill time. They needed to have a main event, even though we got no finish. You still have to have a match, right? They had time to fill. And so that's why they did the match. That, and also Jey is going to be part of War Games. So Jey Uso, he already lost on...
Jey Uso could have came out and helped Punk and then get beat down with the rest of them.
Could have. He could have, but he's main event Jey Uso. He has to get his entrance.
Sure.
If he comes out to help Punk, he can't go through the crowd and yeet.
Which, by the way, conveniently, he was the hot tag, and he spent most of the match on the apron. Did you see that?
But you'll notice also he looked better last night than he did on Saturday because he was in a tag match and he wasn't in a singles match all blown up from his entrance. But that's why they did the match. Logan, look, whether they did it the way you just described or they did it the way they did it, it was predictable. I mean, you could see that coming from a mile away. Because I'm just watching that opening segment where it's like, wait, they're not turning Logan babyface. Like, that would be a terrible decision. And I'm like, no, there's no way they brought him back just to have, just to kill him off in the opening segment. I'm sure we're going to see him again before the show is over. And then sure enough. And, now it's like, oh, is he in the Vision? Like, no, he's not in the Vision. He's aligned with the Vision for War Games because they need heels on the heel side. I don't want him in the Vision. He's not a full-time guy. If you're going to add members to the Vision, then it should be people who are going to be there every single week. They don't need a part-timer. They don't need a Logan Paul. They don't need a Brock Lesnar. They don't need anybody like that. So I don't like the idea of him with the Vision, but they needed a heel. So he'll be a perfectly serviceable heel. He'll do some kind of big move, big dive. Maybe he'll film it with his phone as he jumps off the cage. And so, yeah, I mean, he gets good heat and that's all well and good. But again, he's not a full-time guy. So I don't see what adding him to the Vision, I don't see how that benefits the Vision if you were to do something like that.
No, I don't think he's in the Vision either. Nobody should think he's in the Vision. He's aligned with them simply for War Games. Like Jason said, a full-time guy or a couple of full-time guys to fill out that group for sure. So yeah, that was the happening on Monday Night Raw. We just kind of bunched that into what we talked about here with Rey and Dom, and that's coming up at Survivor Series. Hopefully that should be entertaining. It's good to see Rey Mysterio back. But Punk and Jey Uso at Saturday night's main event. This was the worst match of the night. This was probably the worst Punk match of the year. This was probably the worst Jey Uso match of the year, honestly. We've seen him do a lot better here. I don't know what the fuck happened here. This match felt slow. It felt clunky. The neckbreaker spot lives in my mind and will not exit at all because I thought that was just fucking absolutely terrible. I don't know what the fuck happened there.
Well, so did Punk, because if you'll notice, he immediately stood up and he kicked him in the fucking head. and then they redid the spot. So,
on top of that, throwing water on him, like, bro, you better fucking get with it here.
Well, you know what's funny is that when I was reviewing it on Saturday, I mentioned the water bottle, and I was confused. I go, I'm not really sure why he did that, but whatever. And then, after the fact, I'm like, he did that. He did that for a reason. He did that because he knew like they were not having a great match, and he was trying to wake his ass up. Because otherwise, why would he pour water on his head? There was no reason for him to do that. And maybe it worked because he did get marginally better as the match went on. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what was going on. He was lethargic. He was, and I said, like, he has admitted, and they talked about this on the Unreal show on Netflix, like, he gets blown up doing his entrance. All the yeeting and everything, like, he gets blown up. And maybe part of it is also nerves. So you put that together, and it's like, I don't know what I saw there in the first half of that match, but it didn't look like somebody who was ready to be in a world championship match.
Well, he also doesn't help the narrative of everybody on social media saying that he's nothing more than an entrance. He ain't helping himself there.
Not in that match he didn't. So it was just a very boring, it was just not a good match. It was not a good match.
See, now you know why I didn't want this match to take place in Utah, you see?
You in Utah again. JD from Utah 206.
Did you see?
I didn't want this match to happen
hear
at
the
all.
crowd from Friday into Saturday, man? Did you hear? Almost like there wasn't any crowd there.
Oh, I couldn't hear it because it sounded like they weren't there on Friday. It
was awful.
Do you blame them? If they gave you the show that they gave them on Friday, would you cheer and make noise?
Well,
I don't blame the crowd for it.
That's why they only sold 4,300 tickets to Friday night.
Good. It spared the other 2,700 from having to suffer through the same fucking show.
Oh,
but yeah, this is not the match. I don't know anybody who was hoping that this would be the match, coming out of the Battle Royal. They gave us the match. It's over. It was just a matter of, do they crown a champion or do they not? And the minute they announced the John Cena tournament, it was pretty obvious that they were not going to drag this out any longer.
No.
I think they would have at least considered it, but once they came up with the idea for the Cena tournament, however far back that goes, they weren't going to do another tournament. And I agree, like, it doesn't make sense to run two totally different tournaments at the same time, especially when some of those talents in the tournament probably would have overlapped, right? That just doesn't make any sense. So they were going to crown a champion, and if they had to crown a new champion, then it had to be CM Punk. There was no reason to put that belt on Jey Uso, and that match is not going to convince people, that they made the wrong decision. So now Punk is the champion, and he has to find a new foil because Seth is not around anymore. So is it going to be Roman? Is it going to be somebody that we're not thinking of? I don't know. Maybe he's not going to have it for very long. Maybe Breaker will take it from him sooner than we all think.
I'm hoping Breaker takes it before the end of the year, or maybe at the Royal Rumble, and Punk loses it to Breaker, and Breaker defends it at WrestleMania against Roman. That's what I'm hoping for.
You could do that. Now, remember, there's also going to be another Saturday night's main event the week before the Rumble.
Yeah.
They're doing that again this year or next year.
In Montreal.
In Montreal, yeah. They're going to be there for SmackDown and then Saturday night's main event back-to-back on the 23rd and 24th. So, if I remember, I think they did a World Heavyweight title match on the show this year with Gunther and Jey Uso.
Yes.
I think that was the main event the week before the Rumble. So maybe they do a title match on that show. Maybe it's Punk against Breaker on that show in Montreal.
Or maybe we're looking at it all wrong and we get Punk and Roman in the main event of night one for WrestleMania. I don't know. For the World Heavyweight Championship.
Does Roman need to be wrestling for the championship?
No, I don't know. I don't really care to see the match either. You don't
want to see Roman and Punk?
One-on-one? I don't care for that.
Okay.
Yeah. Me personally, I'm still bothered that he won. Like, I get it, and we have talked about this, and yes, they made the right decision. If it was going to be one of these two guys, it was definitely Punk. As a fan, I just feel like him winning the World Championship here over the WWE Championship is less than, and I feel like by default, Punk is the secondary champion in the company, which I feel like he doesn't deserve, and I feel like it happened in Utah, and it just felt like an ordinary night. Like, it should feel like a much bigger deal, and it doesn't. I don't know why I feel that way. Maybe you guys feel the same way. Maybe Jason feels the same way, but we can't go back and rewrite history. We can't change anything. I just feel like it was unceremonious. That's why I was very adamant about Utah. Like, I don't want to see it happen.
Well, because he wasn't supposed to win the title on that show. So, of course, it was going to feel unceremonious. He wasn't meant to win the championship that night. Like, I'm sure he wasn't winning if he wrestled Seth. So they were forced to go with him sooner than they wanted to, and it was going to feel unceremonious whether it was Utah or probably any city but Chicago. Chicago, of course, they would have gone crazy for it. So anywhere, I think it would have felt that way because a lot of people just weren't expecting it. It was kind of sudden. And again, Punk and Jey Uso, no story.
No, I mean,
story.
this is why.
Just a
Like,
match.
I know he's taken a lot of losses. I would have much rather seen LA Knight in this spot. If they were going to give someone a loss, LA Knight should have got the match.
Dude, LA Knight should be the champion right now.
Yeah.
LA Knight should be the
Yes.
champion right now. Heel or face.
Now
Doesn't matter.
that you mention it, we talked about short title reigns before. I mean, that would have been the perfect fucking opportunity.
Yes. Thank you. What is the harm if, let's say, LA Knight went in there and went heel, even if he went heel? Some people might not like that because he's still over as a babyface, but he's one of those guys who I feel like is probably a better heel than a babyface. And so what's the harm if they do a big turn angle where he cheats to win or something and he beats Punk, wins the World Heavyweight Championship, and then drops it back to Punk or drops it to whoever? Maybe he doesn't go heel. Maybe he's the one who drops it to Braun Breaker. But he gets 2 months, 3 months. What's the harm in that? How does that greatly disrupt their plans for WrestleMania?
That would have been, listen, I would be very, very curious to know if that was even a thought in the creative decision. Coming up with what the plan was here. Those creative meetings, I wonder if that was brought up by somebody. Because that would have been perfect for him to drop the title to Breaker at that Montreal Saturday Night Main Event.
That's what I mean. And there's no harm in that, right? But you would make a lot of fans happy who would like to see him as the champion, but it's someone different who is over. You can't deny that he's over.
There's no more PLEs between now and Survivor Series, but the title's not going to be on the line there. There would be no stress of figuring out like a major pay-per-view program for him. It'd be a very safe title run. They love being safe. But they also would have been very risky at the same time by putting the belt on somebody that the fans don't think is ever going to get the championship. So you would have killed two birds with one stone there.
Oh, well.
I don't know why we come up with this shit here and nobody fucking talks about it, man. I don't know.
Oh, well.
Finish your spam at the end of this match. GTS, spear.
I lost track of how many. Did he get the great Jey Uso kicked out of like 6 go-to-sleeps in this match?
Jey Uso delivered a GTS. It looked bad. Punk delivered a spear. Fucking awful. Like
the worst spear I've ever seen. Ever. Worst spear. If we're going to bash Jey Uso for his performance in this match, that spear from CM Punk was the worst spear I have ever seen.
Bro, Punk was out of gas. That's why. He was out of gas.
Well, the difference is that Jey Uso was out of gas at the beginning of the match. Punk was out of gas by the end of the match.
Yeah, well, that's why the spear looked bad. He was blown up at that point. So yeah, I mean, this was bad. I mean, there was so much of a better way to go about with this, but Punk is the champion. Not going to complain because we're both Punk guys. He's the champion, and we look forward to War Games. We'll see how it plays out and what he does. I mean, people were claiming that he needs to drop the belt to a younger talent. He doesn't need to worry about world championship at this stage of his career. So if he drops the belt to Breaker and then goes on to wrestle Cody, that's my preferred choice for the night 2 of WrestleMania main event. So we'll see what happens there. But Monday Night Raw, nothing really outside of what we talked about. Nothing really big happened on Monday. We had a tag team title match. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. They defended the titles against the Judgment Day. Very good match, but more of the same. Sheamus is out there still continuing his feud with the Judgment Day because they now have possession of his shillelagh. This is the great storytelling that Triple H is talking about, the Marvel-like storytelling.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that shillelagh was, handed down to Sheamus, I guess, by his great-grandpappy Sheamus. Is that the story behind it?
Maybe
They just find another one?
They didn't really reiterate that to us, but if that's the case, sure.
I just created that story. That shillelagh was handed down by his great-great-grandpappy from many generations ago.
We got...
Very upset that it was taken away from him.
We got bracelets. We got shillelaghs. What else have they feuded over in WWE? Jackets? No?
Yes.
Somebody's jacket was stolen?
Well, Bret Hart's jacket was stolen.
Well, recently, not Bret. But
recently?
Yeah, recently.
You mean you don't want to go back to 1995? Okay.
No. Yeah, I kind of do, actually, but no.
No, you don't. Not 1995, you don't. Be careful what you wish for. Yeah, I don't know. Has there been any thefts recently on television?
Didn't someone on AEW television feud over a fucking possession? What was that recently? Well, that was this year. Didn't someone steal something?
Oh yes, Ricochet with the robe.
Yes, there you go.
Prince Nana's robe. That's what it was.
Fucking Christ, man.
The embassy robe.
This is what storylines have evolved into, man. Theft.
Yeah.
Yes, I want my item back.
Yes.
It's not Grand Theft Auto, bros. Please stop. No more of this. So we got that. The ladies had a very good night.
Oh, the shoes. That's right. Forgot about Roman shoes.
Oh, Roman shoes. How can we forget about the tribal thief of all people that we forgot?
The thief is literally in his nickname. How did we forget that?
Oh man, this is the great Triple H and his Marvel-like storytelling.
Multiple pairs of shoes were stolen. Yes.
Bro, if this was in the Marvel universe, they would have fucking failed at the box office within the first day, man. Give me a break. Come on.
Would have been a box office flop after 2 weeks. It would have been the Smashing Machine.
Oh my goodness, man. This is awful. Maybe they do need ChatGPT for some reason. This is not good. But the ladies had a good night last night. There was a tag team match with the Judgment Day, Raquel and Roxanne versus Stephanie and Nikki Bella. Do you get the sense that Nikki Bella is turning heel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It feels that way to me.
Not that anybody's going to care, but I mean, Stephanie needs opponents, and everybody else is tied up right now on their own things. So I guess that works.
Well, she has it. Well, she's going to wrestle Raquel this coming Monday, and then maybe after that she'll wrestle Roxanne, and then after that she can wrestle Nikki.
Sure. I think that's the way it's going to go. And then we got Bailey and Lyra, who are very good as a tag team, against the Kabuki Warriors. And we got Charlotte and Alexa showing up to basically shoo away the Kabuki Warriors. So we're looking at the tag team titles on the line next week against the Kabuki Warriors, defending Charlotte and Alexa's titles there. I don't really get a sense that Charlotte and Alexa need those titles anymore. I'm hoping for a title change and put them on the Kabuki Warriors. They've been built up very well on Monday night. I think it's time to take those belts off of Charlexa. Is that what they're calling them now?
No, I thought they were calling themselves like Twisted Bliss or something. But okay. That could tie into what we were talking about before, where it would free them up then to be challengers for Jade.
Yes.
So if they lose those titles, then they don't have to worry about the tag team titles anymore.
I hope that's the case. That is where they are needed. But people were arguing with me on social media when I made my predictions as far as the card goes. People seem to think, Jason, that Charlotte and Alexa are going to be a part of War Games. And I'm personally hoping that nobody from the women's division on SmackDown is anywhere near War Games. Nia, Charlotte, Alexa, they don't really fit into this outside of Charlotte and Alexa need opponents, and the Kabuki Warriors are the most credible team in the division right now. One of the only teams in the division, honestly. And I'm looking for War Games. I'm curious to see what you think, mainly to come off Raw. And Becky was on the show last night. She cut a very impassioned promo towards Maxine and how she feels Jessica Carr is a crooked ref and they're out to get her. So I feel like Becky is going to lead a team because she had that promo. And then after the promo, she walked up the aisleway. And at the same time, the Kabuki Warriors were making their entrance. And there was a stare down between Asuka and Becky. Now, I didn't think that was anything threatening that the IC title is going to be on the line between Becky and Asuka in the future. But it may be, but not in this case. I feel like it's more of a mutual thing, mutual respect. I feel like the Kabuki Warriors will be on the women's heel side for War Games. Becky will be there. And I feel like Roxanne and Raquel are going to be there because they've been on TV every fucking week in multiple segments. I don't know why they wouldn't be. So I think that's going to make up the heel team. And then the babyface team, I feel like it's going to be Rhea and Io, obviously. I know Rhea's out with a broken nose right now. I'm sure she'll be ready to go by War Games. So Rhea, Io, Bayley, Lyra, because they've been on TV every week too. It would be silly not to have them in there. And I feel like, I know a lot of people were like, oh, AJ Lee's coming back. And I said, well, yeah, sure. But AJ hasn't been on TV since WrestlePalooza. Now, she may be the person that Maxine is kind of talking about to go get guidance from. We don't really know. But Maxine Dupree getting a spot like that would be fucking so huge for her. And she's already feuding with Becky. Why would they put AJ in there? She's not even on TV. So I don't know how you feel about the women's War Games, but where are you leaning towards?
Yeah, I mean, based on that promo last night, Becky, which I thought was good. I thought it was a good promo from Becky. She's all manic and losing her mind, and she's really trying to put, Maxine over as strong as she can. And it was weird. Was it last week when Maxine went to Adam Pearce? He was ready to give her a rematch for the championship, and Maxine was like, "You know what? Like, let's hold off on this."
Yeah.
So, like, what are they holding off for? Are they holding off for maybe Saturday night's main event next month? Well, if that's the case, then you have to do something in the meantime involving the two of them. So having them on opposing teams in War Games would make sense. I don't get the impression AJ Lee is coming back in time for War Games. It would feel kind of forced.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, the only thing with Charlotte and Alexa, I can see them involved over Raquel and Roxanne, just because Raquel and Roxanne are more, I don't know, they're more involved with like Stephanie and Nikki lately.
Well, it would be in place of Lyra and Bailey because they're baby faces.
Yeah. I don't think they need to be in there. I think Bailey and Lyra make more sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I'd be fine. The Becky and Asuka thing, I read it the way you read it, which is just a mutual kind of respect kind of thing. I didn't read it as, oh, they're going to wrestle soon.
Yeah.
So that's 3 guaranteed right there. You know, Becky, Kyrie, Asuka. And yeah, and then the others I think make sense. That's 5. And then on the babyface side, I think that looks solid too. And Rhea, even if Rhea still is not 100%, like, was it last year or the year before she had a broken nose and she wore the mask? So just bring back the mask. Like, she'll be in there no matter what. Maybe she'll bring back that freaking, it was like what was it? Like a pig mask or something that she was wearing. Remember?
Yeah, it might have been before she got the major injury and she was out for a few months. I think it was before that.
But so she'll be in there and Io will be in there. And then, yeah, those other 3 names make sense to me. Io will do her obligatory dive off the top of the cage. But like, you have on the women's side, same thing in WWE and AEW right now. Like, you have men's and you have women's matches. The women's matches in both companies, they feel more
sensible.
Sensible for the stipulation right now.
Yeah.
Where you can see more clearly what the teams are going to be, and it doesn't feel as forced.
Maybe that's the way that they're thinking about it. They want to keep it like mysterious for some reason. Like, just tell me what the fucking teams are so you can create better television in the weeks leading up to the show.
I mean, that's the issue I have, and we'll talk about that now. That's the issue I have with the John Cena tournament, where they're clearly going to announce these first-round matches like piecemeal each week. And we'll find out on Friday what the next 2 matches are going to be from Nick Aldis with his ball tumbler. That's how they're picking the fucking
The
names
Royal Rumble ball tumbler's back, man.
Yeah, let's bring the tumbler back here to for this John Cena tournament. So I wish they would put a fucking bracket up. Like, just show us the bracket. Do they even know what the bracket is yet?
No, because they don't want to. They don't know how to have any fun. They don't want people to speculate and already predict who's going to be in the finals. They want to keep it a secret.
Yeah, like, stop spinning your balls and just show us the bracket. That I don't understand what the big secret needs to be here. And then people can start getting excited. Okay, let's see, trying to figure out in their minds like who's going to advance and who's going to win. So we found out last night in this John Cena Last Time Is Now tournament. It's a 16-man bracket, just like the Deadly Game tournament was back in '98. Actually, that one might have been, if you count the qualifying, it might have been 32. That was a big tournament.
Yeah, but weren't most of those matches like 2 minutes though? Like, they were very
most
quick.
of them were 2 or 3 minutes. Well, because they did the whole tournament in one night. That's
so
why.
fucking stupid.
So it's a 16-man bracket, thankfully, not an 8-man. It's cross-branded, so you have talent from Raw, you have talent from SmackDown, and you have talent from NXT, and even some talent that doesn't belong to WWE, and they work in other places. And, of course, people immediately begin to think of certain names that they would like to see in the tournament, but you're not going to get them. They're not going to be in there. So I tell people, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment here.
Those people are funny, aren't they?
Funny and frustrating, because they just like, why are you setting yourself up?
They think it's a video game simulation, man. That's why.
They think it's an eFed. Is that what they think it is?
Yes, that's what they think it is. Yeah.
It will not be Adam Copeland, and it will not be Chris Jericho. Both men are still under contract to AEW, and that is not going to change because WWE might possibly want them. I don't even think WWE wants them in the tournament, but I'm sure they don't mind people speculating because it gets people talking.
I'm sure Jericho don't mind either.
Oh, Jericho loves it. You kidding me? The more they talk about him, the better. The more money he'll get when he goes over. So yeah, no, Adam Copeland is not. You're not getting Cena and Edge. Okay, there are some people who are adamant that Edge should be his final opponent. You got to let it go. You just got to let it go. Like it's not happening.
Well, I understand Punk is his greatest rival, in my opinion. Edge is probably number 2.
Some people would say Edge is number 1. I agree that Punk is number 1. I just love the fact that they are such polar opposites, and they say like opposites attract, and I think that was very true of Cena and Punk, and they've always had great matches together. So yes, those are 2 names that you should not expect. But when they say that, of course, they have a working relationship with TNA.
Yeah.
And in TNA, there are any number of names that could end up in this tournament. And I think you've mentioned some of them as well. Matt Cardona, Nick Nemeth. They have history with John Cena. There's probably others on there too that have history with him. But Joe Hendry literally, like, I think, quote tweeted the announcement and just posted that photo of his. Like, of course he's going to be in it. Like he's been trying to lobby so hard, and he's not going to get it. But he's been lobbying all year for a match with John Cena. At the very least, like, he can be in the tournament.
He will be there.
Yes. So those I think are some of the names that you'll see from outside the WWE bubble. But we know the first 2 matches, which are coming up next Monday, which is going to be Rusev, who wrestled Cena at WrestleMania 31, against Damian Priest, who I don't believe has any history with Cena at all. And then you have Sheamus, who won his first championship from Cena, taking on Shinsuke Nakamura, who eliminated Cena to win the Royal Rumble back in 2018. So that's how those guys tie in with John Cena. And look, I mean, Rusev and Priest, I think that'll be a good match. Even Sheamus and Nakamura, like, I don't bet against Sheamus.
No.
All right? Sheamus don't miss. So I'm sure that'll be a good match too. I can't say that either of those matches is, overly exciting, which is why I want to see what the rest of this bracket looks like. But we're not going to know because, again, they're going to announce the next 2 on Friday. And then, I don't know, maybe they'll do the same thing next week. I hope we get like a full bracket at some point that we can really look at. But this is how they're going to crown the final opponent, for John Cena on December 13th. And you mentioned Meltzer and what he reported a few weeks ago, that Gunther is expected. Now, plans could change, but Gunther is expected to be that guy. So we kind of know where things are headed here. I assume you agree with me that Survivor Series makes sense as the place for the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm
2
setting
weeks after that.
I'm sure I'm setting myself up for disappointment on what the finals, what I want the finals to be, and I'm sure we're not going to get it. I don't know what they have planned, but I'm already slightly disappointed by the 2 matches they announced. Not to take anything away from Rusev, because he's done very well for himself on television the last few weeks. Sheamus is great. I love Sheamus. Not a big fan of Nakamura at this stage. And Damian Priest, I feel like he's kind of fallen off since the world title run. They just feel like 2 random matches that WWE would do on any given week. And here I am again complaining about the fact that this company doesn't know how to take risks or have some fucking fun. Like, you have 16 people that you got in this tournament, and you've already set it up for the fans to get excited about. It's going to span on Raw, NXT, SmackDown, and people who don't even work here. Meanwhile, the first 2 fucking matches that you give me are 4 guys that we normally see on television in the same formula that you do every single week. Yet you want me to get excited over what you've announced so far on Monday? I don't know how you can be excited about that.
Well, maybe Nick Aldis will wow us with his ball selection on
I'm sure
on
it'll
Friday.
be Carmelo and The Miz wrestling one-on-one.
Yes. Well, you mean that? So just by chance, the balls will end up on Mello and Miz. Wow, imagine that. If we don't get someone from NXT like a Javon Evans or someone announced on Friday, like, what are we doing here? Like,
sure.
Like you said, it was very uneventful, the 2 matches that were announced last night. I would hope before this week is over, we get at least 1 match that we can look at and be like, wow, okay, that sounds cool. You know what I mean? So we need to see that by Friday. And from NXT, Javon Evans, Trick Williams, Oba Femi, there's any number, Ricky Saints. I mean, there's any number of people that you could put, in this tournament.
But we talked about champions losing. They don't want to beat their champions. In this case, I don't even give a shit. Just give me the fucking matches that we don't normally get to see. Like, give me some fresh matches, champion or not. Like, I had Dragunov in my mock tournament. He's the United States champion, and I'd have him in the final with Gunther and him losing to Gunther in the finals of the Survivor Series. Who gives a shit if he's a champion? People are like, well, you're going to make Gunther the United States champion? No, we're going to get a match of the year out of it. Who gives a fuck if he loses?
Yeah, but you know what? People are being dumb with that. Like, in a tournament situation like this is a special tournament. It's fine. Like, to have your secondary champion and even the NXT championship, like, it's a secondary championship. If Ricky Saints is in the tournament and he gets through to like the semifinals and gets bounced by somebody, like, it's fine. Like, we're talking about a company that once upon a time called up Karrion Kross when he was the NXT champion and had Jeff Hardy beat him in his first match on TV in 90 seconds.
Oh my God.
Like, it could be far worse. Okay. And he did not recover from that. But I don't think that Ilya Dragunov or Ricky Saints or, any existing champion like that being in the tournament and not winning the entire tournament, like, it's fine. So I don't have an issue with that at all. And look, yeah, Gunther and Dragunov would be a tremendous match to do at Survivor Series. Again, we come back to Gunther because we're assuming that if the report is true, it's going to be Gunther. So he's going to be in there, and then you get that match with him. So what I talked about was, and this is before we saw the segment with Ray and Dom last night, but if the idea was for John Cena to work a match with Dominic Mysterio, which is still possible, it doesn't seem likely, but let's say it happens, right? My whole thing was, everybody's been talking about John Cena's got to win the Intercontinental title. And I'm like, no, he doesn't. Oh, but he's got to win the Grand Slam. I'm like, no, he doesn't.
No, I'm not interested in seeing that personally. I don't care.
Yeah, like, who cares? But let's say he did, right? If that's the idea, and he goes to Saturday night's main event as the Intercontinental Champion, he's defending in his final match, right? And he defends against Gunther. And you assume Gunther's going to win the match. What is accomplished by putting it's like he's taking 2 steps back. What is accomplished by putting the Intercontinental title that he already held for 666 days back on Gunther? Like, that's what bothered me. That's what irked me about that idea. I had no issue with Gunther until people started introducing the IC title into it. And I said, then you don't need Gunther because he doesn't need that title. And then that's where it opened the door for someone like an Oba Femi, who has been a ghost since he lost the championship. They're clearly holding him out for a reason. I think he ends up in this tournament. But if he's going to be in the tournament, then he really needs to win. Like, if he's not going to win, it wouldn't be death if he went to the finals and lost. But, like, ideally, I would not have him in the tournament if he was not going to win. If he won the tournament and he went to that show and Cena was defending the title, then it makes a lot more sense to me. Because it just accomplishes so much, right? You have him win this tournament. You have him be the man to retire John Cena. And then in doing so, he becomes the Intercontinental Champion. And he kickstarts this dominant run as champion. That would be a productive use of someone from NXT in a big spot like that. And you just hope he can handle the pressure because that's a lot to put on somebody who's not been in that situation before. Then I like the idea of like an Oba Femi being in that spot. So I'm cool with either one of those guys. I really don't realistically see it being anybody else. I mean, I don't see it being, I don't think they're going to run back, like a Randy Orton or a Brock. I have no interest, by the way. If Brock Lesnar ends up in this tournament and wins.
No, that's awful.
Like, what the fuck?
That's fucking terrible.
Absolutely not. So I don't think they're running back any of the matches Cena has already had this year. Orton, Punk, Lesnar, pick anybody you want, right? So realistically, who is it going to be? It's not going to be a TNA guy, right? It's going to be a Gunther, or it's going to be a major prospect that they're looking to launch. And Oba is that guy.
And that's a lot to ask, man. Him beating Gunther in the finals, taking the title from John Cena and beating John Cena in his final match. I mean, that's like I get it. I don't trust him, bro. I mean, I would do it that way. That would, if that came to me as an idea, I'm like, that's the one I'm going with right there. But that's a lot of them to do, and I don't really trust them to make that decision. That's a lot of like, oh man, that's not as safe as we would like to be. It's like,
it goes against everything that Triple H has displayed as a booker, like what his instinct would be. Yeah. Like with Braun Breaker, they didn't put the belt on him. They still had Paul Heyman coming out every week. He's gonna, a future WrestleMania headliner. We hear this every single week. And it's like, okay, cool. But like at some point, it's okay if you have this other guy here and Braun's going to be a big star. I think Dom is going to go on to be an even bigger star. But then you have this guy here who showed you in NXT what he can do. He's very impressive. I had some people say, yeah, well, he's unproven in anything, other than outside of tag team matches. I don't know. I saw him have some pretty damn good singles matches this year. So I think he held up very well as far as his in-ring. He can cut a promo. He just looks great. He's got this presence about him. He's the kind of guy that I would look at and go, okay, we need some new faces on this main roster. This guy could be the guy. We have an opportunity to do something very special here. You get one shot at this. John Cena gets one retirement match. So are we going to do this or are we not? And if they go all in on this guy and they, say, okay, we're going to go with him. What a way to launch somebody new, right? What a way to show people like we believe in this person. And this is someone that as a fan, you better pay attention to. Because just like Braun Breaker is, this guy could headline multiple WrestleManias over the next 10 years.
Well, John Cena, in his own words, says, I'd like to repay the favor. So there's no better way to do that than putting over the future of the company.
Mm-hmm.
Gunther doesn't need it. Like, everybody's fixated on Gunther because, the reason why people are fixated on Gunther is because he's the quintessential perfect villain for someone like John Cena's character. That's why everybody's fixated. It's like an old school match. It's like the evil foreign villain versus the all-American. It's like, it just fits perfectly. But
in DC, no less.
Yeah. And it's like, sure, I would want someone like Oba to go over. I don't trust the company, especially in 2025, to make that decision. Hopefully he's in the tournament. I really hope so.
Well, look, if it were up to me, we both had our own ideas at the beginning of the year for how we would have handled John Cena's final year. And my whole thing was you build to him winning that 17, right? 17, yeah. 17. I said so many, I can't even keep track. But he wins that 17th championship off Gunther, like at SummerSlam. Like, I would have done the match, but I wouldn't have done it as his final match. Like, in a perfect world scenario, his final year would have looked very different. But here we are, and I think it would be a shame not to do the match, but that doesn't mean that he's the only option. Gunther's a great option, but the people who say, well, you're kind of wasting a spot, he doesn't really need it. No, he doesn't need it. So I'm open to other ideas, and the Oba idea is one that intrigued me, especially if you were to introduce this unnecessary secondary title into it, which, again, I don't think is needed. But if it were to work out that way, I think Oba's the guy. Then Gunther definitely doesn't need it. I just don't see what's accomplished by that. What the fuck does he need that belt for?
I don't know. That's so beneath him. Like, who he's done that already.
Been there, done that, dude. Like, I don't care who he ends up dropping it to.
To do what? Run back the same plan that Triple H wanted to do 2 years ago with him as champion against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania? Nobody wants to fucking see that for the title.
And that's another one. Like, what the hell does Brock Lesnar need to be wrestling for that title for? None of this makes sense. So, yeah, no, it's stupid. It was just unnecessary. Even when I first heard that idea last year, like, oh, Brock and Gunther IC title, like, why?
Sure, it's a spectacle, but it wasn't needed. How many outside stars do you feel are going to be in this thing? Because in my mock tournament, I had Jeff Hardy, who I'd like to see Jeff in the tournament, but if he's not there, I'm not surprised. I said Matt Cardona, definitely. Matt Cardona, Joe Hendry, I think are the two guys that will be in this tournament. I even put Nick Nemeth in there, but I doubt he'll be in there. So how many outside guys do you see? Just one or two?
Jeff's a little beat up right now, so I don't see Jeff being in this. I think, honestly, maybe 3. I don't think they're going to want to fill too many spots with people that don't, that are not under contract to them.
Yeah.
So like I mentioned Cardona and Nemeth and Hendry. Hendry, I'm pretty confident Hendry will end up in there. You know what? I think there's a better chance of Nemeth more than Cardona. I'm glad that Cardona got that match on NXT a while back against Briggs. But there's just, I don't know, like they've had opportunities to bring him back over the years and they just don't seem interested. So is Triple H going to want to fill a spot in this tournament with Matt Cardona?
Fucking weird. I would. He'd be one of the first names on my list. I don't know.
Doesn't seem to be a favorite of his, though.
I don't know. His wife works there. You would think it's the other way around, but apparently not.
You would think. But so I don't think they're going to fill too many spots with non-contracted WWE people, 2 or 3 at the most. I think because again, you got 3 other brands, so they're going to want to pick people out of NXT as well. That only leaves so many spots. We already know 4 of them, and then we'll find out the next 4 on Friday.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot. We know what you want to see happen. What do you think is going to happen?
I think Gunther's going to win.
Who do you think is him in the finals?
I think him and Dragunov is actually a very real possibility. I could see where maybe they wouldn't want to, since he's in the middle of doing open challenges. Like, is that a bad look if this guy who's been undefeated in these open challenges loses?
I don't think. I think it enhances him more than anything.
Yeah, I would do it. So, but that's the only thing that's kind of preventing me from being 100% sure that it would be Again, it's hard to say without the bracket. If it's not Gunther and Dragunov, you know what would be fun?
I'm
Gunther. I'll just tell you.
Yeah,
Gunther and Javon Evans.
That's in my mock tournament I had that in the semifinals. I think that would be a tremendous fucking match, no matter how you look at it, bro. Can you imagine that crowd in a good city with that match taking place? The babyface fucking moves that Evans would do to get those near falls on Gunther, bro, before losing. That would be tremendous.
I think the 2 of them. Oh yeah, I think the 2, and the way he would bump around for Gunther and those chops. I would do it in the finals if anything, because I feel like people could buy into the idea that hey, if they like this kid's the future, and so it goes back to when Cena debuted. Ruthless aggression. Like, I think they could buy into the idea that, okay, they're going to take a Javon Evans and put him in that spot against John Cena to pass the torch. But then, Gunther is just too much to overcome, and then he cuts him down in the final. But what a spot for him to be in. I mean, you saw what he did in there with Leon Slater at Bound for Glory. I mean, he's special. So he may not win the tournament, but Gunther and Dragunov, Gunther and Javon, you can't go wrong with either one of those matches.
I mean, I would have them on opposite ends of the. Actually, I would have them on the same side of the tournament. I would have Gunther and Evans in the semifinals before he moves on to wrestle Dragunov in the finals. I think you make this as special as you can. I don't know. I hope that they have this all mapped out the way that they want. Right now, I'm kind of disappointed with the matches that we got. Take away nothing from Sheamus and Priest and Rusev, but I was hoping for a little bit more unpredictability and a little bit more fun here, but. We got the same sterile WWE here.
Yeah, SB in the chat says, what about Leon Slater being in the tournament? Can you imagine if they save the Javon Evans, Leon Slater rematch for like the semifinals of the John Cena tournament?
Man, I won't even care. I think that would be great. We'll see.
I just want to see the match again.
Me too. Not going to be anything like the first one because it never really, the sequels never really live up to the original, but.
I just wonder, though, it's going to really depend on what city they're in. It's tough. Like with some of these main roster crowds, if they don't watch NXT and they don't watch TNA, my fear would be like if you pick the wrong city for that match. Not that I don't trust their ability to get the crowd into it because they're very exciting to watch, but that could be a risk if you were to do that match on the main roster just cold like that.
Yeah, I'm going to see what we got coming up here. Boston.
Well, we got Boston.
Boston and New York.
Yeah.
And then we got, after that, Oklahoma City. And then Survivor Series. Oklahoma City doesn't seem like the type of town that is going to pop for something that big, huh?
You think they do the finals only or the semis and the finals at Survivor Series?
Oh, you're asking them to do more than 4 matches, 5 matches on a
I know, it's shocking. I think Triple H would break out in hives if you threatened to do that. But
you'd have heart palpitations, and I don't want to see that happen.
Go into anaphylactic shock. You'd have to stick the fucking needle in his leg. I know.
But to be fair, I mean, December 13th, we still have Glendale, Arizona, December 1st, and then we have a Friday night in Austin, Texas. We have a Friday night in Denver.
But you got to end this at Survivor Series. After Survivor Series, you got 2 weeks. So that gives you solid.
I think we need to end the tournament before, brothers. There's a Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania date in there.
Now you're making enemies in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. You're laughing at them. You're gonna have a lot of enemies in Utah, Pennsylvania.
The Mohegan Arena, man. We don't want to go there.
You're gonna have enemies all over the country. But the only thing is, like, John Cena is not going to be on TV until the last match. So, like, we talk about, like, building up the match in those 2 weeks in between, but, like, Cena won't be there. So that makes it tough.
So that is your news this week, guys. John Cena's tournament begins next Monday. We got those 2 matches. Friday, we'll find out what the next 2 matches are going to be. And I'm looking forward to the tournament. Hopefully they make it special. That's what I'm really looking forward to. But we had upwards towards 2,300 people here live tonight. I know it's been slow. And hopefully November picks up. We got Blood and Guts. We got John Cena's tournament. We got Survivor Series. And we got John Cena's retirement. So there's a lot coming up. So hopefully you guys... stick with us through what is hopefully a busy November. But we're going to get into Super Chats now. Thank you guys very much for the support. We got almost 800 likes. I'd love to see that number as close to 1,000 as possible. So please go and hit that thumbs up. And Super Chats are open and will remain open. It is the best way to support what we do here on Tuesday night. And if you guys want to go find Jason on social media and on YouTube, everything you need is linked down in the description to go find his content. Let's get into the Super Chats and then get the hell out of here. We are going to start at the top here with Tone C with a 2. He leaves me the metal horn emojis. Thank you, brother. That's it. Michael Krause with a 2. Good Tuesday, JD. Jason, OTS, TNT, let's go. Yeah. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Someone in the chat said JD McDonough versus Gunther for the finals. I'd enjoy that. Well, yeah, I mean... It's not really the star-studded affair that WWE wants, but...
Yeah, they're not doing that.
No. Punk put over McDonough last night in his promo, so that was a nice rub for him.
Punk against McDonough for the title, I could see as a TV match, like a TV defense 1 week.
Yeah. I could see it. Boss Mo Jackson with a 199. Your top 3 biggest what-ifs in WWE history. Oh, man, we'll be here all night.
I'll go first. What if Bret Hart wasn't screwed in Montreal?
Yep.
What if they didn't botch the invasion and they were able to, because they botched it, but also they didn't have access to some of the biggest names.
Yep.
So, like, what if they did a proper invasion? What would that have looked like? Right. That's one of the probably the biggest what if, honestly. And 3 of them, huh? I mean, you can kind of get serious and say, what if, Owen hadn't fallen from the ceiling, and what if Benoit didn't do what he did? And we have a wellness policy right now, largely because largely off the deaths of Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit, and that wellness policy has probably saved lives. I think even MVP mentioned that once. Like, he had a heart issue many years ago, and I think he credited the wellness program for saving his life. So yeah, that's a what if.
I'm going to go with what if the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania was never broken? I'm going to go with what if Shawn Michaels was never injured in that casket match with the Undertaker for 4 years? And what if Hulk Hogan never won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 9? What that year would have looked like?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have loved to see Hogan versus Bret for the title, though. I don't know why we never. I know
Bret
why we never
got to see that too.
Yeah, I don't know. I know why we didn't get it. I would have loved to see it as a fan, but yeah, that's a good question, brother. Thank you so much.
Here's another one. I'll throw another one at you. What if? And Hogan has claimed he's full of shit. I don't believe him. He has claimed that he begged Vince McMahon after he lost to the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6 to turn him heel, and his idea was to be Triple H, Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Full of shit.
No, I don't believe that for a second.
But what if? What if after he lost the title to the Warrior, Hogan went heel in WWF, like way back in 1990? Like, would that have worked? What would that have looked like?
I don't know, man. I tell you, if it did happen, it would have never. I don't know. Do you think if that happened then, it would have worked as well as it did with the NWO?
No, not at all. It would have changed a lot.
Yeah.
In wrestling history, had that happened.
Yeah, Vince was never doing that. No matter if Hogan wanted it or not. Yeah, that's a good question, brother. Thank you very much. Olivia with a couple here. We got a 5, a 2, and
I got
2.
one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before you get to Olivia.
Yeah.
You talk about potentially upending things in wrestling and in this company. What if Jesse Ventura had succeeded in 1986 and gotten the wrestlers to unionize against Vince McMahon?
I don't know, man. That would be what the hell would we be looking at right now?
I don't think we'd be doing this show right now.
Probably not. Yeah, there's a lot of what ifs, man.
You would be JD from Utah working in Utah
Probably.
doing something. Yeah.
I'd be doing fucking cooking reviews or something. I don't know. Fucking beer reviews or whiskey reviews. Olivia, we got 4 here. I was surprised to hear you both found the Sisters of Sin win to be an upset. After all, they are in a faction, plus Jamie beat Julia, Sky, and Tekla already. If she did, I didn't see it because it probably happened on Saturday night. I don't know. I felt like Jamie Hayter was a big enough name to at least forward in the tournament. I don't know. Yeah, I was surprised by that.
I had them going to the finals and then losing there.
Yeah. She also asked, JD and Solo, please rank Simpsons, South Park, and Family Guy. Family Guy, South Park, Simpsons. That's my order.
Family Guy. Yeah, I probably would go Family Guy, South Park, and Simpsons.
Yeah, I was never a fan of The Simpsons. I never really found it funny like I did Family Guy.
Yeah, I mean, I watched bits and pieces of all 3, but I've never been such a fan that I've seen every episode or multiple seasons.
Yeah. She also says, what do y'all think about LA winning the Rumble over Sammy? Not a chance in hell.
Oh yeah, there's no way.
LA Knight's not winning the Royal Rumble.
I'm not saying Sammy's winning either, but I'm just saying of the 2, yeah, no, that's not happening.
No, if listen, there's Saudi is getting WrestleMania. I think that's kind of eased back the opinion of Sammy winning the Rumble this year in Saudi Arabia. So they may be planning something for WrestleMania. Who knows? Olivia also says, a final one, the learning tree or my family tree?
The learning tree.
You were quick with that one, huh?
I've made a lot of money off that learning tree,
Yes.
so I got to go the learning
All right,
tree.
I could see that's a good reason for him. I'm going to go with neither. I'm going to burn the fucking tree down. That's what I'm doing.
Well, you know what I do on my streams whenever the learning tree comes in. Chop that shit down. We get that chainsaw going, baby.
Oh, my goodness.
That's what we do.
Michelle with a 2. Who would be Styles' last opponent? It's a good question. Punk, Gunther, take your pick.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say Gunther is a match we haven't seen yet. Gunther and Styles would be pretty great, actually.
Yeah. Also, Michelle, who should win the men's War Games and why? I would probably go with the heels, honestly, and I think it forwards the bloodline tension with Roman and his cousins, and then Jimmy and Jay.
I agree.
Baltimore Jackson with a $4.99. I bought a 4K streaming device that allows me to watch all my wrestling without a VPN. I didn't need it after all. That's good news. That's good news. Jason's missing out on the ExpressVPN, though. Could have always helped him out there.
ExpressVPN's done well by me.
Yes.
I have no complaints. I use it multiple times, in fact, every week.
I got it.
Every Monday and Friday.
I got it. I've been using it a little bit more now that my my credit card and my PayPal card got compromised last month. So I've been using it a little bit. Yeah, using it a little bit more after all. Baltimore Jackson also. What did Kermit the Frog say at his puppeteer's funeral? Nothing. Well, fuck Kermit the Frog then. I'm a Kermit guy too.
That's kind of a dark joke.
It is. Bro Mobile with a $10 super chat. I don't have anywhere else to tell this to, so I'm going to tell it to the lads. I'm seeing both Metallica and AC/DC this week live in concert. 2 of the greatest to ever do it. I'm marking out from Australia. Well, first of all, thank you, Bro Mobile from Australia. I have never seen Metallica live, and at this point, I don't think I would because the older they get, the worse they sound. And I'm surprised AC/DC is even up and fucking still playing music, honestly. I don't even think they were still touring.
I don't know. I feel like the feedback I always see whenever something new, like a new album or whatever from Metallica, it just seems to get worse and worse.
Yeah,
what was the last great album that they came out with? Because I thought Saint Anger was pretty well received at the time.
No, Saint Anger was terrible because of the production. It's not like the music was bad. It was just the way that Lars's drum sounded. It sounded like he was banging on fucking empty beer kegs. Their last really good album was probably the Death Magnetic. Their last couple albums were not really all that good.
And what year did that come out?
I would say that was 15 years ago, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Megadeth's putting out their last album in January, and supposedly they're covering Ride the Lightning by Metallica because Dave Mustaine wrote the song. So they're covering that in their own way, which is going to be cool to hear. But yeah, I mean, enjoy yourself, brother. I just went to go see Trivium in New Jersey on Sunday, and I thought they were fantastic. So I haven't been to a concert in a while, but when you can get out to go to one, highly recommend it. Sidro with a 5. Trump puts tariffs on an island that only has penguins. Penguins were tariffed or terrified. I'm sorry, I fucked it up. See?
You ruined it.
I ruined it. Penguins were terrified. Who serves you when you visit a sandwich shop in Tibet? The Dalai Lama. Sorry, bro. I fucked one up and the other one didn't hit. Sorry. He also comes back with a 10. How do insecure dentists keep their accounts secure online? They use tooth actor authentication. What do you get when you cross Batman and Robin with a steamroller? Flatman and ribbon. All right, nothing yet, bro. Xeno 0 of the 5. JD Solo, agree or disagree, however it happens, wherever it happens, or whenever it happens. Roman's last opponent should be Jacob Fatu.
I mean, Roman's last match, we're still a ways off. So, I mean, I can't say right now that necessarily is going to be the right choice. I think it would be a good choice, but I don't know. At the time, story-wise, maybe it makes sense for it to be someone else like Jey Uso. I mean, I know that's going to get people riled up, but there is a story there with those two going back, 5 years. So,
well, or if you're Cody Rhodes, who said today in an interview that was transcribed, we've just scratched the surface on the final boss.
Oh, we're only in the third inning, right? Of that too, right? Third inning. That's a long inning, let me tell you.
Cody needs to shut his mouth there. He also said in that same interview that his next WWE contract is his last contract. Then he goes to Hollywood.
Yep. Well, I mean, the only way I believe that is if it's like a 10-year contract.
Yeah. Zeno with a 10. Not counting Triple H or Shawn Michaels, what would you guys consider the best WrestleMania match of the Undertaker's streak? Batista. That's mine. I don't know what Jason's is.
So we're leaving out Triple H and Shawn altogether?
Yeah. I know Punk is up there, right? Punk is up there?
No, Punk is definitely up there.
Edge?
I was never a huge fan of that match. For me, yeah, it's got to be Punk or Batista. I'm leaning towards the Punk match.
No Prince Albert?
No. No.
Oh, Giant Gonzalez? None of those?
No, they fall a little short.
Okay. King Kong Bundy?
Well, now you're just being ridiculous.
It wasn't that bad, was it?
Oh, it was pretty fucking bad, dude.
I was a Bundy guy, too, man. I enjoyed Bundy.
Look, Bundamania was running wild in the late 80s, but by 1995, not so much.
Corey Williams at 38 months. Thank you, brother. Melee King, Sidro. I hate looking at these names. I really do.
Why do you have the ads?
I don't know.
I got the names on my channel.
I know. I was told last night. They were like, oh, Solomonster stream's got the regular names. I'm like, yeah, thank you. Thank you. $10 super chat, Sidro. Saw an ad that said radio on sale, $1, volume stuck on full. I thought I can't turn that down. I once knew a guy who mixed up jacuzzi with Yakuza. Now he's in hot water with the Japanese mob. Yeah. Not doing good tonight, Sidro. Boss Mojax with a $9.99. WWE needs some life. I'd go ahead and call up Oba, Trick, and Ethan. On the women's side, I call up JC, Zarya, Jada, and Jordan. These rosters are stale.
Well,
Like,
Ethan and Chelsea just won the mixed titles in AAA.
they did.
I've talked about them being called up together as like a pairing on SmackDown. I think that'd be a great move.
What do you do with Alba? You keep her there?
Well, I mean, they need people on the roster. Sure, yeah. I mean, they could. I wouldn't be subtracting women.
No. I mean, as far as the Secret Service, you put them together.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, I don't like the Secret Service. I just think it's lame.
Sounds like a Road Dogg gimmick.
Yeah. I mean, you could keep Alba with Chelsea, but just drop the whole Secret Service stuff. It's lame.
Sidro with a $5 super chat. The doctor said I can touch myself whenever I want. Well, his exact words were, "You can have a stroke at any time." Israel Garcia with a $9.99. Hey, JD Jason, I know you guys do not understand El Grande Americano, but he is absolutely brilliant. His Spanish is incredible. Ludwig is something else, man. Yeah. Apparently he's got a new woman, too.
Well, I don't know if that's confirmed. I see these things like on Instagram and stuff, and I'm like, is this even real? Like,
I don't know, man. I
just report this stuff.
Maybe he's playing up the gimmick, man. Who knows?
Maybe it wasn't Ludwig under the mask in those photos. Maybe it was somebody else.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully he's well there. You know, I don't know why you would want to dump Tiffany or vice versa. I mean, it is what it is. Baltimore Jackson, $9.99. I was watching Child's Play 2 and realized Greg German, who was killed in the scene where Chucky was in the backseat of a car, looks exactly like Solomonster. I thought to myself, it's Solomonster's twin.
I thought that was Orange Cassidy. Apparently, I look like every white man in existence. I've been told I look like Jack Swagger. I've been told I look like multiple people.
I guess.
Bryan Danielson, young Bryan Danielson.
Gavin Deeth with a 41 months. Anarchy in the Arena match or War Games / Blood and Guts? War Games.
I don't know, man. Anarchy in the Arena this year, once they hit let the bodies hit the floor, that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
So I mean, if done right, Anarchy in the Arena could be fun. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth between the two. It depends.
Yeah, it would be fun if they didn't play the same song 4 fucking times in a row. Like, give me a nice set list, like a nice 4 or 5 song set list before you stop the music. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Cake with a $2 super chat. WWE's life be easier if they booked Candice LeRae. Would it? We already get silence with these no-name towns. We don't need Candice coming out there getting the reaction. James Hammond with a $1.99. And the new mayor, Zaharian Mamdi. Like, I don't.
Dr. Zahorian is the new mayor of New York.
Yeah. I did not vote. I don't live in New York City, so I don't really give a shit.
That's right. He's in Utah.
Yeah.
JD from Utah.
Yeah. We have a mayor in the town we live in. We don't worry about what he's doing over there. Who was going to win? Was Andrew Cuomo going to win? No, he wasn't going to win. You get this guy or Andrew Cuomo who's been accused of whatever he's accused of. So it's like you can't win here, man. Some real winners they got over there. Cake with a 2. Triple H defended Cody's win, even though Cody is all might. Or almighty, you mean? Triple H defended Cody's win? What, you mean at Saturday Night's main event?
I don't know what he's talking about.
I can't listen to what Triple H does anymore. It's just fucking nonsense.
He's trying too hard to be Dana White.
It's nonsense.
That's what he's trying to. It's just so transparent. What he's trying to get himself out there as much as possible. Like even the WrestleMania ad. Like, was there really a need for him to be in that ad? Like, everywhere you turn, you see his face everywhere. It's
did you see Bully Ray's conspiracy theory that there was an extra slot at the table with chips at that table?
I didn't pay that much attention to the commercial that I would even notice that. I saw chips. I saw Brock Lesnar looking like he just rolled out of fucking bed. I mean,
he apparently that was all filmed at the WWE headquarters.
Well, it looked like he got flown in that morning on a red eye or something, and they just threw him on set. His eyes were barely open in the commercial.
Walker Stubbs with a $4.99 for Cena's final match. John Cena versus the Solomonster. Oh.
I gotta start training. You know what, though? If I was going to wrestle, I feel like Cena would be the safest person for me to be in the ring with.
Probably. He'd be.
I'd rather be in the ring with him than fucking Gunther taking those chops.
Well, I mean, he'd loudly yell at you what spot's next throughout the match.
Yeah, I wouldn't have to memorize anything. I would just listen to the spots loudly called from across the ring. I would know exactly what to do.
Sidro with a 5. Highly recommended that y'all watch Knives Out 1 and 2. Murder Mystery, awesome movie and funny too. Knives Out 2 has Batista in it. Daniel Craig is the detective. I saw
the first one.
I feel like I made an effort to watch that and I never did because I saw Daniel Craig was in it and I just never followed up on that.
Yeah, I saw the first one. First one was good. I didn't see the second one.
Rojo Bear with a $5 super chat. Rojo Bear. Sorry. I have a picture of Sean Connery signed by Roger Moore. It's worth $150. Really?
That's kind of weird.
Did you get that authenticated by somebody? Did you go to the pawn shop? You talked to Chum Lee about that? I don't know. I don't have any autographs that are worth that much money, I don't think. I got a AJ Styles signed Funko that I bought at Comic-Con.
I have a Vince McMahon autograph.
How much is that worth?
These days, I don't know. I have a somebody gifted me. I guess they made a commemorative King of the Ring 1993 figure of Bret Hart, and it's signed in the box is signed in pink Sharpie by Bret. Yeah,
of course it's got to be pink Sharpie. I'm sure that looks great.
Yep.
Walker Stubbs with the $4.99. Choose from 1. Retire 1. Roman Cody Rollins. Rehire 1. Cross Matt Cardona Cesaro. Release 1. Breaker Dragunov Gunther. Retire 1. Roman Cody or Rollins. I'll probably go Rollins on that. Who you retiring?
Retire, huh? I'm gonna go Roman.
Rehire 1. Cross Cardona Cesaro. I'll probably go Cardona.
Cardona.
And then release 1. This is tough. Breaker Dragunov Gunther. You know what? I love him. I'd have to release Dragunov. I'm sorry.
Man, that is tough.
Yeah,
that's tough. Yeah, I'm just.
Why? Because Gunther is just the quintessential villain, and Breaker is just the future of the company. So Dragunov doesn't really. I mean, Dragunov could be a quintessential villain too. It's just he's not better than Gunther, and I don't see him main event at WrestleMania. So.
Yeah, I would say that's fair.
Yeah. Clone Force with the $4.99. What's up, JD Solo? Love your guys' work. Glad my Dodgers won on Saturday. To be honest, they aren't ruining the MLB, and teams with money need to spend and stop being scared. Well, I do think a salary cap is needed, honestly.
And then do you have a salary floor?
Then you have a salary floor, you said?
Well, I'm saying like you have both.
Yeah.
Would that not make sense?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, honestly. I think the spending is just going to get even more ridiculous this offseason, and the rich are just going to continue to get rich. And I feel like some people are saying that the season might not even happen in 27.
Well, yeah, there's talk of a potential strike. I don't know. I don't know if it'll get to that point. But there's definitely like murmurs about that happening. So I don't know. We'll see. It's going to come to a head.
Also, with the $9.99, Clone Force says teams have a lot of money to spend, but sometimes they just don't win a World Series or make the playoffs. Rangers spend money. Players like Seager, 10 years, $325 million. Marcus, 7 years, $175, and DeGrom, 5 years, $185, and they won the World Series in 2023. Sometimes these teams just spend money to win a World Series. The Dodgers got lucky and won back-to-back series.
Yeah, and then you have a team like the Marlins.
Yeah. Yeah, the Braves payroll is not cheap. It's like in nearing the 200 million mark, but I mean, they were just ravaged by injuries. I wish they would actually spend a little bit more money to be competitive and get what they need, but they won't because they're on a fixed income. They want to stay at a certain level and they don't want to go over that. Like Cooney's operating with a fucking 8-year contract worth $170 million. The guy's grossly underpaid. If he was anywhere else, he'd be making $700 million.
Didn't they say the way Otani's contract is structured, he's
deferred.
He's getting like $2 million a year right now.
Like, he's owed like $700 million.
I know. Yeah, like he'll get the majority of it like years from now, but like right now he's getting paid like $2 million a year.
Well, you can't say he's not earned all that $700 million. Honestly,
no. Look, he's the best player in baseball.
Maybe
Now let me ask you this: there are people who say he may be the best of all time.
No, he's not the best of all time.
No.
I don't know
Could
who
he end up as the best of all time.
I mean, he could be in the discussion. I genuinely don't even know who is the best of all time. Like, who's the best of our generation? Besides Otani.
Besides Otani, I mean, God, best of our generation.
I mean, we grew up with Ken Griffey Jr. and Frank Thomas. Like,
Yeah, but
Frank
we grew up
Thomas
with,
was
like-
a fucking beast of nature, bro.
Well, we grew up with Barry Bonds.
Yeah, Barry,
also,
yes.
and it's
I mean,
like,
if
how
I
do you
was to
vote
choose the
against
greatest of
Barry
all time,
Bonds?
I'm going Barry Bonds. Yeah, I mean, his swing was like the greatest baseball swing of all time. Barry Bonds.
That's what's so shameful about it is that if he didn't do what he did, he still would have been this remarkable player. He just had this natural ability.
Yeah.
I probably would go Bonds.
Yeah, chat's even saying Derek Jeter. I mean, Jeter was good. I thought Jeter was grossly overrated, though. Honestly. Emoji Matt with a $4.99. Word up, yo. What's up in the Hizzle Shamrock for Royal Rumble 2026? Well, that goes against Brian Alvarez. There's no surprises in the Rumble.
I don't think Shamrock is going to Saudi. I think Shamrock in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
We should settle on that. I think he's deserving of a Hall of Fame nod.
Jericho will be in the Royal Rumble. That's my prediction. That's the one surprise I'm pretty confident on. HH Media 84. $2 Super Chat. Can the Hurt Business get Dom in the gym too, please? Nothing against Dom. I think Dom has been great. This has been his best year yet. But right now, I see a lot of people like, oh, he's a world champion. Yes, eventually. But I do think that the one thing missing, and maybe Jason feels the same way, I don't know. I think he needs to put on a little bit more muscle to look the part. Take away nothing from him and what he's done so far, but to get to that level, I think things need to look a little different.
Yeah, but right now, like in the role that he's in as the slimy heel,
Yeah.
Right now it's fine. I think longer term, if he was going to be that guy that you would look at as a world champion, yeah, he's should probably put on some size naturally. Now we're not Jim Ross, 25 years ago. Hey pal, should probably get yourself a little bigger there. The old man will like it.
Sidro with a $2 Super Chat. Jey Uso's new gimmick, all gassed, needs a break. Yes. I mean, it's a little too close to home there, bro. Yes.
Yes.
HH Media with it too. Jay was drunk during that match. That's what was up. Really? I don't think that's the case. I don't think WWE would ever send him out there looking like that.
Apparently, Triple H wasn't even there that night. He wasn't even backstage at the show.
I don't know where he was, but he was there on Monday to take his obligatory picture with Punk in the World Championship, which is the picture you see in the thumbnail. Boss Mo Jax with a $1.99. JD from Utah, 456. That's hilarious. I just didn't want Punk winning the title in Utah. What could I tell you? Bro Mobile from Australia, $2 Super Chat. Imagine it ends up being Oba versus Gunther in the finals. Yeah, that's what Jason was talking about earlier. I mean, it's tough to argue with that being a great final. I mean, that's what the whole tournament should be about. The young guy going over. That's what Cena wants. Let's give it to him. Crazy Men 88 with a $5 Super Chat. If you don't do Cena versus Dom, then just build to Gunther versus Cena at Survivor Series and give the tournament to Oba. You get Cena versus Gunther and Oba versus Cena. Yes, that would be fine, but there's 3.5 weeks to go, and Gunther hasn't been back to television yet.
Yeah, and so what do you do there? You have Cena lose the last 2 matches? I
I
don't see that happening. Yeah.
No. Emoji Matt with a 5. Have either of you ever seen Halloween 3, Season of the Witch? Jason has. Whether it was good or not, I don't know.
It was the second favorite Halloween movie of mine of the entire series.
All right, there you go.
It's a very polarizing film because it is the one Halloween that does not have Michael Myers. Yeah.
So it's more story driven, huh?
It's a totally different story.
Oh.
So the John Carpenter did not do Halloween with the intent of it having a sequel. It did really well, so he was kind of not forced, but he was coerced into doing a second movie, so he did it. And then the idea was it was going to become an anthology series. So like every year there would be a different Halloween story. That's what Halloween 3 was. And then people just revolted. So he said, okay. So they brought back Michael Myers and he's been back ever since. But like on its own, 3 is actually a very good movie. I think over time it's sort of grown into a cult classic.
Yeah, that sounds like it would have worked, but the fan base is so fucking elitist that nothing was going to change that. And it gives the people who write the story a little bit more freedom to be a little bit more creative instead of running the same fucking shit into the ground every single movie. It's like, where else do you go after a certain while? Where else can you go?
They killed him off in part 2. He was never supposed to come back. So they brought him back in part 4 because everybody bitched about part 3.
It's like fucking It's like Brian dying on Family Guy, and they brought him back because the fans were so fucking upset, so they brought him back.
Well, didn't they just kill recently one of the characters on Family Guy? The chicken. There's some kind of chicken character.
Oh, the chicken that Peter used to fight and fight all this. They killed him.
Yes, they killed him. Yes.
Oh man, so, I didn't know that.
Yep. So I mean, maybe they'll bring him back. I don't know.
Hollywood guy with a 5. I would like to see an open challenge for the women's United States title. If that was the case, they would have ran through the entire division in 3 weeks.
I don't know why you would want to run the same gimmick with the other title on the show, knowing it's going to be inferior to the one that they already have.
Yeah. Emoji Matt with a 2. Were you a Real American Hero fan growing up? Is that a band?
I don't know. Real American Hero fan?
I don't know. What is that, Matt? What is that? Is that a band? A TV show? What is that? DJ Boat 1 with a 5. Solo, let's get a part 2 of common wrestling tropes that make no sense.
There's plenty of material, so at some point you'll probably get one.
Emoji Matt with a 5. Legit question. Did they ever bury / remove Hogan yet?
I think they did an autopsy. I would imagine by now, yeah, he's I don't know if he was buried.
He's where he needs to be.
Yeah, he's one with the earth now. I don't know what they
I
did
thought
with
that
him.
they were going to cremate him. That's the last thing I read, but I don't really know.
He probably was cremated because he would never allow himself to be buried.
Yes. In the wrestling terminology, yes. Or in the Hulk Hogan way of thinking, yes.
Yes.
Captain Solo at a 5. What if Hall, Nash, and Hogan never went to WCW? Would Vince have put them out of business sooner? And what if Savage beat Hogan at WrestleMania 5? These are all legit questions. I mean,
well, Vince did not put them out of business. I know that is the WWE narrative, but WCW mismanaged themselves right out of business. So they may have lost the war, but that didn't mean they had to die. They died because they made a lot of very dumb mistakes.
spent money frivolously, right? They fucking spent how much money there?
Well, it's not just spending money frivolously. I mean, they just failed to create new stars. That's ultimately what killed them.
And what if Savage beat Hogan at WrestleMania 5?
Hogan would have gotten his win back at SummerSlam. Like he was gonna win out in the end. So I mean, yeah, the end result would have been the same.
Oh man. What do we got here? Emoji Matt with the 199. The last great Metallica album is Garage Inc. Yes, because it's a fucking double album full of cover songs that are not theirs. That's why. What do we got here? We got Awad with a 41 months. Yo, how you doing? Cheers from the Middle East. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for 41 months. Emoji Matt with a 4.99. Here's a what if. What if Jason Newsted never left Metallica? Well, his band, Flotsam and Jetsam, wouldn't have gotten off the ground. And Flotsam and Jetsam's really fucking good. I don't know. I think Metallica finding a bass player was not the problem. I honestly think Robert Trujillo is a better bass player than Jason Newsted, who's their current bassist now for Metallica. But nobody's Cliff Burton. And Cliff Burton sadly lost his life very early on, right before And Justice for All. Moji Matt with the 199. What if Regal wasn't suspended after King of the Ring?
He would have been the World Heavyweight Champion.
Really?
Oh yeah. I believe that. I believe not the WWE title, but he would have had at least a short run with the big gold belt.
Emoji Matt with a 199. Why did the bicycle fall over? It was too tired. Spencer Morgan with 34 months. Don't forget Jerry Seinfeld, Solomonster.
Yeah, that's another one. Why do people compare me to Seinfeld?
I think it's the sense of humor.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, I just assume, any fucking white guy walking down the street, hey, that's Solomonster.
Michael Krause with the 2. How long have you lived in Utah, JD? Not a day in my life. Not a day in my life. Though I've been told throughout the week that I would actually very much enjoy Salt Lake City. So who knows? Captain Solo with a 2. New York City is about to be like the Purge films.
I was going to say, Salt Lake is where Joel went on his rampage at the hospital.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What are you saying? I'm going to go on a rampage when I get to Salt Lake City?
No, I'm just saying. Salt Lake is, it just sticks out of my mind. He was trying to rescue Ellie, and that's where he went on his incredible rampage. He wiped out, 18 people?
Yeah. Listen, Michael, I love you guys, but the reason why I embellished Utah is because it's funny. You guys find it funny, so. Captain Solo, listen, I rarely visit the city. The last time I was in the city was to celebrate Jason's birthday. We went out to dinner and a couple of drinks, but that was it. I really never find myself in the city. And then Comic-Con, obviously, but that's it. Tony Brown with a $5 super chat. JD, have you ever heard of Earth, Wind, and Fire? Yes. It's well before my time, bro, but I have. And then he said, I also had my SRD hacked. I don't know what SRD is, but that's going around lately. You guys got to be careful, man. A lot of phishing accounts, texting. I get these things from the UK saying that I owe money on my Easy Pass account.
Yeah, no, I get those too. I get these text messages about DMV. I'm delinquent on something, and I'm like, what? I'm not delinquent on anything.
Like, why am I getting a fucking UK phone number talking about my Easy Pass? Like, what the fuck is this shit?
To take care of this, click this link.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not happening.
Tony Brown with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Tony. Nima with a 5. An interesting what if is what if Brock never left in 2004? Would Cena still be the top guy? 04 Brock was awesome, and would he have continued to have great matches? That's a good what if. I don't know. What would have happened if Brock never left?
Yeah, Cena would have. It might have been delayed a little bit. Cena still would have gotten over as ultimately the top guy. I guess the bigger question is if you see what they did coming out of WrestleMania in 2005. You had Cena leading the charge on one side, and then Batista leading the charge on the other. And those were the two guys that they were sort of building those brands around. So instead of Cena Batista, maybe it would have been Lesnar and Cena. And then what happens with Batista? Right? Because someone would have to take a back seat. So that's the only real what if that I'm not sure about.
Furious Nation with a 999. What's up, JD and Solo? Can't believe it's almost 20 years that Eddie Guerrero sadly passed away. Kind of wish I started watching in 04 when he was still around instead of 07.
Yeah, November 13th.
Yeah.
It's going to be 20 years.
Najee with a 299. Do you think Roman wins the next Rumble? It's a possibility.
Yeah, I think it's very possible.
Yeah. Furious Nation with a 199. My picks for the Rumble: Bianca and Sammy, or Braun. I think Bianca's a very good choice. Braun is a good choice. I don't see Sammy winning the Rumble this year. It was a discussion early on because of where the location of the Rumble was, but I don't think that's going to happen this year.
Well, the location of the Rumble, and also the fact that he was going out on television almost weekly, talking about how I've never been the world champion. I know I can do it. I'm going to be the world champion, and it was like a story they were starting to build, and they just completely got away from it.
Yeah. Fox with 2 X's, $4.99. Watching the stream late, enjoying it. I am at the Bond part of the stream. LOL. Who was the worst Bond to y'all?
Probably Timothy Dalton. I would say.
I'm going to reserve judgment until we find out who the next Bond is, because I don't think they're going to do Daniel Craig justice, and I think it's just going to be terrible. Honestly,
I know years ago there was a movement to get Idris Elba as Bond, and I think he could probably be a good Bond. I don't know if he's who they're going for, but
who knows what they're going for? I heard they want a female Bond too. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, then it can't be James Bond.
No, it'll be Jane Bond.
Jane Bond. Okay,
Jane Bond.
James and Jane Bond.
Yeah. Matt Fisher with the 199. What if JD didn't have to watch Collision? I don't. Who does?
Isn't that what Collision Corner is for?
That's what Jesse's for. That's why I got him. And Hollywood guy willing with this $5 super chat. What if Sting didn't get injured in WWE? That's a good one too. That's a very good one. I don't think nothing would have resulted there anyway, even if he was healthy.
Yeah, I don't think they were going to put the belt on him.
No.
Well, what was that, 2015? Yeah, they weren't doing the Undertaker match.
No.
That ship had sailed.
Anyway, guys, thank you very much for all your supports. We know it's a slow time, and we appreciate all you guys that stick with us, man. Hopefully November is going to be a lot better. There's a lot coming up, and we're going to be here to cover it all for you. Make sure you guys follow Jason on social media. On YouTube, everything you need for him is linked down below. You guys know where to find me. Continue to hit that thumbs up. Let's try for 1,000 likes, and leave a comment down below. All helps us out in the algorithm. And as always, for a great 119, I'm going to let this guy sound us off for another Tuesday night.
I just wanted to, I got some messages from people and just wanted to thank them for the anniversary comments, because on Thursday, it will be the 18-year anniversary since I started doing the sound off. So, celebrating all November long.
There you go. That's an incredible milestone. Here's to 18 more.
Yeah, the sound off could vote. How about that?
Yeah, look at that. Thank you guys very much.
Baby's growing up so fast.
I know, man. It's great. Oh, man. Anyway, thank you guys very much, man. We will be right back with you next week on Tuesday. And we'll get you guys covered on everything pro wrestling wise right here on Tuesday Night Titans, man. Thank you so much for the support, and we'll see you all next week right here for another episode of Tuesday Night Titans. See you guys later.